Maggie. I was trying to think of a song to sing, but I couldn't
Yeah,
think
I
of
knew you were
anything.
about to, and I was like, let me cut
I
this
was
off before
like,
it starts. No, we were just doing Birds of a Feather.
Feather,
We
we
should
should
stick
stick
together.
together.
I can know
I
in the
weather, together.
weather. We're so
They're those
annoying.
words. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Shade of It All. I love that the mic was not picking up a single word you said. It just sounded like,
What did
uh,
she say? Yeah, bitches. Strawberry, strawberry, cookie,
literally the mic not picking you up at all.
I'm trying.
I'm
Yeah,
dead.
bitches. Strawberry vanilla swirl with cookie crunch, please.
That
That
does
girl is
sound
a
good.
legend, an icon, and I haven't seen her since. Where are you?
She's back in the Vine days,
I
you know.
know.
But, regardless, we miss Vine.
We do.
But hey y'all, we're back and we're here to talk about, some Love Island interviews. I feel like post show there hasn't been as many as I thought there would be,
Yeah.
but
The
I think there's gonna be more next week because I think Janae and Kenny are gonna be on the Vile Files. Uh,
Everybody's either doing the Vile Files or Call Her Daddy for long interviews. And I'm
they
like, did you guys
are.
have a contract or something? Because when I watched the interview that Leah did with Chicks in the Office, they said something like they couldn't contractually they couldn't post it until a certain time. And I'm like, what do these podcasts, what agreements do y'all have going on? Did
I don't
like Nick
know.
Viall buy the rights to Love Island?
Oh God, he would probably want to or think he should have the rights because he think he has the right to everything. But
Oh, Brandon,
anyways,
get it off your chest. Brandon does
mm,
not like Mr. Nick Viall. And honestly,
no.
I kind of see why. After you explained it to me a little bit, at first I was like, oh, okay, because I listened to the Kaylor interview. I called Brandon to talk to him about it, and he was just like, I hate Nick. And I'm like, why? And it kind of makes sense. So I think you should explain to everyone your beef.
You know what? I will. Before though, we give life to Nick because trash. How have you been, Maggie? We could do a little check-in before because I feel like we got a little to talk about the interviews, but it's not too much. It's gonna be a light episode, catching up with
Yeah,
everyone.
you're so nice, Brandon. You always ask me how I'm doing first. I'm doing swell. I've been celebrating my birthday for like over a week, which I usually don't do. So I'm
Yeah.
eating it all up. Like, oh my gosh. Because last weekend I was with my brother, and then this weekend, since I was away, everybody who lives nearby is like, Maggie, we're out with you. And I'm like, absolutely. Where are we going? What are we doing? I did two escape rooms because I'm obsessed with escape rooms. If you ever want to
Loves an
do
escape
something with
room.
me, let's do an escape room. Even though I really like don't be knowing how to escape. It's not like I'm good at them. It's not like it's my forte. Yo, I
Yeah.
Brandon and I did two escape rooms together and I pissed him up very quickly. I got under my friend's skin.
I forget what even we did it. One of them was for my birthday last year. I think our first one.
Yeah. And then it's our experience sucked so bad that they let us come back for free.
They
So we did
did.
another one.
We didn't escape the second time, but we escaped the first time, I think.
Yeah, the second time we were more. Here's the thing. I was like kind of like goofing off, and Brandon was like, Maggie, we have work to do. We have to escape. We only have an hour. But it was really fun. I did one with my friend on Friday, my brother yesterday. So I got to celebrate with both of my brothers, which I've never done before. And yeah, I've been good. Still enjoying this birthday high. How
Oh
have you
yes.
been, Brandon? Your birthday is coming up. It's just a couple
I
days
know.
away.
It is. It's a week. So calm down.
I'm like, it's tomorrow. You're right, it
No.
is a week.
It's been good, It's been, last week was chill. I had to give like a presentation at work to the senior VP of accounting. So
Wow.
that was fun. Everyone in accounting, we got like not to get too in the weeds because accounting's boring, but y'all hear this thunder that's at my house?
I heard it.
It is thunder, it's raining. Hopefully the Wi-Fi does not go down.
Bro,
Blessed be.
summer in Florida literally sucks.
It does. It's just raining. Which, can sometimes be chill.
Hmm.
But they're doing this process in accounting. They gave us a topic. We had to research it, see how other divisions were doing, and then present like what we learned. So I had mine this week, and it went really well. It was good.
Look
And
at you,
like it went,
Brandon.
yeah. So, but I was like nervous because I just didn't want to do it, and I hadn't really like I got it done kind of early because I thought we were
Hmm.
supposed to, but then there was a lot of people that weren't done and didn't have to present, and I'm like, well, had I known we didn't have to, I wouldn't have like done this.
Hmm.
But I'm glad I did get that part out of the way. And it's supposed to be more stuff, but regardless, so work was kind of stressful or whatever, but not too bad. And
Hmm.
then with Joe, I feel like it's just been like a weird time and like rainy and just like very not feeling like my sinuses have been bad. But
Oh.
we're starting
Do
to
you have allergies?
I think so, because it's literally like I wake up with them bad. I didn't today, which was nice. But
Hmm.
I'll wake up with them bad and then I'll be fine, but then I'll go outside and it'll be bad. Oh, it's happening
Mm.
with me. I'm just getting sick in my old age. Um, that's fine. But yesterday I went
Oh,
outside. I went to lunch with my cousin Brandy and it was nice.
yes.
The restaurant was okay though. My family hyped it up. They were like, "It's so good, the best brunch." And I'm like, "It was fine."
I hate when that happens, when people are like, it's gonna be amazing. But I'm glad you crushed your thing. Brandon, your birthday's the 3rd. It's 6 days away.
Well,
Is it the
I
4th?
it's the third, but
Oh, I was
like
about to
I would
say,
say
I wrote it down.
6 days is closer to a week than it is in a couple days. It's basically a week. Don't correct me. It's my birthday. This is
Semantics.
when I turn
Semantics.
30.
You're like, I get to say
This
when my
is
birthday
when I turn 2010. That's my
is.
choice. Okay?
You're so funny. Not
Uh,
2010.
but I am excited to celebrate because I got some fun
Yes.
plans that
Yes.
Maggie's invited to, I guess.
I am.
Uh,
I guess.
I
I
guess.
guess Maggie will be there.
It should be
In
fun.
true Leo fashion, I have to make it about me. No, I'm just kidding. It's gonna be fun. I'm
She
excited.
does though, because then it's like on my birthday, she's making me get up early to take me somewhere, which should be nice, but
Don't worry. You're gonna hate waking up early, but you're gonna love it in the end. It's fine.
I probably will just because like it's my birthday. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my birthday. Let's be positive.
Yeah, let's
Then
wake
it'll
up
be
early.
fine.
It's okay. I'll buy, you know what? I'll make it. We'll get Starbucks on the way. I'll buy you coffee.
I love that. Um, I'm trying to eat healthy though this last week of being 29 because I've been eating. That's another thing. I've been eating so bad this past week and I haven't been
Oh,
working out.
really?
I mean, like, I could have been eating worse. I've just been snacking a lot, and then I
Oh,
did
I
get
hear you.
Wingstop recently, which shout out because I saw people on TikTok eating Wingstop. And I was like, I need to
Mm-hmm.
get it. And so I got the tenders with the hot honey rub, of course. I got fries. But you know what's
Um,
good? Their
hmm.
corn. They like cut it in circles like the cob. So you can like hold it and then they like kind of fry it a little bit and put like a Cajun seasoning.
What? I've never had corn from Wingstop. I mean, I don't really go, so
It's
I
I
guess I
don't
gotta
usually
try it.
either, but I was like seeing people on TikTok, they're like, I just got Wingstop and they get like the tub of ranch. I don't get that much ranch. But
Yeah.
I saw someone get the corn. I was like, I have to get the corn. And so I got the
Yeah.
corn and the corn was good.
How many times can we say corn in one
It's
sentence?
corn. It's
It's
na
corn.
na na na. It's got the
Corn.
juice. It's got the juice. Get the words to that.
I'm
But
glad you enjoyed Wingstop.
yes.
Okay. Well, then maybe we'll get a tea from Starbucks or nothing.
Oh,
Whatever you
I'll get
feel.
coffee. I
It's
still drink my coffee. Coffee's
I
not
thought you were
unhealthy
okay, we're
to me
fine.
at least.
That's
And
hilarious.
but yes, so should be fun. But August, we're getting back in my workout bag in August. I've been kind of taking a
Yeah.
little break and I feel the repercussions a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not like I feel like I've reversed everything I've done, but you feel a little like, oh, it's been a minute.
I'm I'm kind of on the same thing as you. I haven't been eating the greatest. So I was like, all right, starting Monday, we're gonna get on our bag. We're gonna not go crazy. My problem is I don't know how to do things in a medium way. It's
Same.
either 100 or zero. It's like I'm eating super healthy, working out twice a day, and drinking a gallon of water, or I'm eating out and I'm not drinking any water and I'm drinking alcohol and it's fine.
Or we're
Like
getting
there's no in
Taco Bell
between.
late at night because they just
Yeah.
got the chalupa tacos, which I haven't tried yet, but maybe at some point I will.
Look at this. Look at this.
You
We
know,
already have an idea of what to get.
we do.
So I need to figure out how to do something a medium way so that it lasts.
That's the thing. It's about balance.
That
And
part.
I am actually like, because I like working out and I do want to get back into it because I do like miss it kind of. And like, I like being like strong and it's like a good, like, get the anxiety and energy out by doing it.
Yeah.
So I will, in Leo season in August, we're getting back in it. It's
Yep.
good to take a break every now and then though.
Right.
Um,
It's okay.
but I do want to focus more on eating healthy because I
Hmm.
felt like I was eating okay while working out and I still saw results, but there were certain things I wasn't seeing results in because I wasn't eating like that healthy. So
Yeah.
I'm like, let me try to lean a little more towards that and then
Hmm.
like throw in the workouts, to
Hmm.
like balance.
That's the key to success is balance, baby.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We're two
I think we
extreme of
could.
people.
We are. We should hold each other accountable and set a goal
We
and be like, all
should.
right, hey, Bryn, like I had a friend once, we did this for like 2 days. Send me pictures of what you're eating. Like, hey,
Oh,
like, so obviously if it's bad, don't send me a picture of it because if you get Taco Bell, I'm going to, you know?
yeah,
But like, here, this is my meal for the week, or send me your outline for your meal prep or whatever you're doing. Because food is really the hardest part.
it is.
Working out is easy. You can go to the gym for 45 minutes and pick up heavy shit. But
Right.
eating well all week, that's tough.
I am gonna be making kale chips today. I used to when
Let
I
me
was
know how
like,
that goes.
kale chips are good. I used to like when I convinced myself I wasn't seeing result and convincing myself I was like overweight, and then I look back at pictures now and I was like insanely thin. Oh, and I'm like, part of the reason why I had to delete Snapchat because the memories were triggering. Um,
You're like, oh my
I
gosh,
was
I
like,
was so
I
skinny.
remember thinking I looked awful. Anyways. But I used to like work out at Crunch. I would make kale chips. I would be going to Publix and getting like kombucha and like this
Wow.
shit. I was like in my bag and I was like, what's
Yeah.
this healthy water? Like, let me try this. And
Hmm.
but the kale chips were good. So I've been meaning to get back in that because it's basically just like I have to look up the recipe, but it's basically like you get kale, olive oil, I think salt, pepper, and like nutritional yeast, and then you put it in the oven.
Hmm. Hmm.
It makes them like
I've seen
crispy.
someone make it. Let me know how it comes out.
I
It's the
will. I'll
texture
send
for
you a
me. Like,
picture.
please. Because will it be like seaweed?
A little
You know how
bit.
like
It's like
seaweed, not
crunchy.
chips, but yeah, and it's just kind of like flat. Is it kind of like that?
Kind of. I would say it's a little thicker than like a
Okay,
seaweed
thicker,
because
a little
it's a little thick.
thicker.
It's a seaweed with a
She's a little
BBL.
thick. BBL
It's
Drizzy.
Leah's skinny BBL.
I love
Uh,
it.
but it's good. But I'll send you a picture. How's your foot feeling?
Oh my gosh, I was actually about to say because I was talking about thinking about fitness and stuff, and then yesterday I was like, fuck, what if my foot never heals and I can like never run again? I don't know why I was being so negative. So I've been walking around a lot lately, like more than normal.
Hmm.
It's so funny because I had a friend tell me like, "Oh, you're the busy one." And in my head I'm like, "Bitch, I've been inside for like 2 weeks." And then my birthday came and I started doing stuff, but like I really have been home. You
You
didn't
have
hit me
been.
up. But anyway,
Oop,
since
call
I've
him
been
out.
like exactly. Since I've been like kind of like more active lately, I looked at my foot yesterday and it kind of looks swollen a little bit. And then when I got to bed, it like hurt, but also it hurt because I keep taking my shoes off wrong. Like I won't
Uh,
like loosen up all the laces to take it out. So I'm like, damn, because this is kind of like week 2 of the insoles.
yeah.
So I have 2 more weeks. I think I need to take it a little easier and stay off my feet as much as I can, which is so stupid because it's like I need to be able to walk.
Yeah. I
I don't
feel
know.
like, I don't know, this could be, because we talked about it could be part of the healing process. I feel like when you do
Yeah,
that, it like gets a little worse before it gets
before it gets
better.
better.
I,
Hmm.
back when I was on Accutane. They said the acne would get worse before it gets better.
And was
So
that true?
I think it definitely made everything dry and terrible and
Yeah.
flaky. So I think there is truth to that actually. So I think that is actually a
Yeah.
part of the healing process. But you need to call and make sure. I know you didn't call. I told you to call, but you didn't call, did you?
Well, I have an appointment on I think next week. I
Okay,
have a
that's good.
follow-up appointment for something else. And because the doctor basically told me, like, do not come back here. If it still hurts, just go get an MRI and I'll arrange it for you. So he's pretty much like, I don't want to see you again.
He's like,
I
don't
don't
show
know.
up.
It's confusing. I just want to see my x-ray so I could take a picture of it and be like, look, I broke my toe. But anyway, I think also though, if I'm thinking about it more, I was wearing Converse yesterday, which is like the flattest shoe
Oh
in
yeah.
all of history. And so that's also probably why my foot hurts so much. So I need to get on my Zoom and like keep my feet up and just keep it flat and, you know, do a little more rehab at home. Because
Mm-hmm.
it didn't hurt last weekend when I was out and about with my brother, but after I wore Converses all day, it did hurt a lot. So it's probably what it was the Converse.
Probably. No more Converse. What are you doing wearing Converse?
Uh, I mean, I put the insoles in there and I was wearing something black. My Converses are black. That's what I needed. It's actually been 3 weeks, Brandon. Dang. I
It's
started
been
wearing them on
long.
the 11th.
So what's
Oh
this
no,
then?
that's 2 weeks.
Yeah, because what is it? It's the
What?
28th. So
11
28
plus
minus 11
14.
is 17.
Hmm.
Just over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Look at us
So I
doing
need to,
math.
but I was like, fuck, what if it never heals? What if I need surgery? Oh my gosh. And then I went to sleep. So I obviously wasn't too worried about it.
I'm sure it'll heal. Is it at least feeling better than it did before the insults?
I
Or,
think so. I
oh
think
yeah, it's getting
so. Yeah, like
better.
cuz like right now, like when and even when am like walking around barefoot, I'm like I feel like the insole adjustment is still there cuz I'm trying to keep my toes
Yeah.
flat and like not bend them or anything. And so that feels I do think it's helping. It definitely and then when I yeah, and if I ever bend my feet, it like hurts like a bitch. And it's like, see, that's why I have the insoles in because I'm not supposed to. So
Yeah.
stupid. I kind of wish
I-
I got something better than just like put this in your shoe and keep it straight for 4 weeks. Like, can I have a bandage? Can I have a boot? Can I have
Can I have
something
something that
else?
will actually help?
Right,
You
like that
know,
I can like that feels like it's helping more, you know?
yeah.
But
You
it is what
know,
it is. We'll see.
you'll be good. I would ask during the checkup and be like, hey, I know
I
you said
should.
this, but like you're a professional. So like help me.
Can you
I
say
need
more?
help. Say
I need
more.
help,
Help
please.
me. But you know who doesn't need our help? The
These
cast of
Love
Love
Island.
Island season 6. They're living on
They're
a
all
high.
they're
They're
in their
outside.
bag.
They
They're
are.
outside. They went to Universal. A lot has
PPG on
transpired.
top.
So when did that start?
Um,
In the
I
villa?
I think it must have, because remember in the finale when it was them in the top three and Leah goes PPG on top and they all did like a look down. I know they did that. So they must have said it before at some point.
Okay, because I was like, so yesterday I found out what PPG means. I don't know. I guess I just thought that I would learn on my own, but I just had to message Brandon and be like, what is
What is
PPG?
this? Powerpuff
Powerpuff
Girls.
Girls?
Gia didn't
That's
know
so
either.
stinky.
She's like,
Thank
wait,
you,
she keeps
Gia.
saying that. Why does she say that? And I'm like, it's Powerpuff Girls, guys. God.
I love Gia. Gia for president. I love
Gia for
Gia. That's so
president
funny. No,
2024.
that's literally what I was thinking. I was like, what does that mean? And nobody is
Did you just fall out
explaining.
of a coconut tree?
Oh, wait. Oh, you're talking about Kamala. Kamala Harris.
You exist in the
Uh,
context of what came before you and what comes after you, or whatever the fuck the rest of the. I can't. She's funny.
one thing we will never do is discuss politics because I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Same. That's the extent, y'all. So, anyways, back to our leaders. Leah, Janae, and Serena. Um,
Yes.
so we're
Our
just talking about some
queens.
interviews everyone's been doing. Again, there hasn't
Mhm.
been too much. I believe there's gonna be more as time passes. There's gonna be the reunion. I think they're filming soon. Well, they
Okay.
gotta film it soon because it airs August 19th. So that should be exciting. But what interview? Who should we talk about
Yeah,
first?
I'm trying to think. Okay, let's just brain dump for a second.
Okay.
So I saw Leah's Chicks in the Office. That was right after the villa. I
Yes.
watched Serena and Cordell and almost all of Kenny and Janae, Chicks in the Office. Then I watched Kaylor on Vile Files, and then I watched Leah and Rob on Call Her Daddy. So we could do like timeline wise, or we could just go by person, whatever you
Hmm.
want to do. I feel like the people who are trending right now are Leah, Kaylor, and Rob.
I agree. So let's go. Because with Serena Cordell, let's start with Serena Cordell and then like Janae and Kenny, because they're kind of
Yeah,
like people like them, but it's just like their interviews didn't have like juice because like they're
no juice.
likable. So it's like it's
Yeah,
just
and they happened right afterwards before
yeah,
probably they saw anything worth seeing.
right.
I did go on both of their TikToks to see what they're talking about.
They're just
So
posting
that's
cute
pretty much it.
TikToks, and Kenny's like feeding Janae everywhere, and I'm like, I love this.
Yeah. They're
Uh,
so cute.
They are. I'm obsessed with them. Because what was it? Serena and Cordell, when they were on, I think, because the first interviews with them were like chicks in the office.
Hmm.
And essentially, they were just saying, like, because Serena wasn't sure that people would like their story, because she was like, oh, I
Hmm.
figured people would either like it or hate it. And then Fran and Rhea from Chicks in the Office were like, no, we like loved it. And
Yeah.
then was it in that interview where she said during the doc fight, it was she said in some interviews, so maybe it wasn't this one. She was like, the doc fight was hard because he looked so good. And I was just like, now I gotta argue with
No, I didn't hear her say that during this one.
she
That's
said it
so
during
funny.
some because they also did
Oh, maybe
random
it was the
interviews like
vial
Access
file ones.
Hollywood. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think there was like a page six one, but all these interviews again, I'm like, get on our interview because they were asking like all the same questions, like, did you expect
Yeah.
to win? Da da da.
I don't
And
know why people feel like they have to ask like the standard things. Then you have five interviews and all of them are basically the same with the exception of like one unique question.
right.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. And then what was it? She had said, because they did ask in Chicks in the Office, they were like, oh, like, do you think you were trying hard in the beginning to like friend zone him because you really liked him? And
Yeah.
she said yes, like it was like day one and we had too many similarities. And I was like, no, this can't be, no. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
When
that makes
she's
sense.
No, it does. When she said that, I was like, I understand. She was like, kind of like intentionally trying to push him away
Mm-hmm.
because she was like low key trying to sabotage herself, obviously not realizing how good it would be. But
Yeah.
like, I think she was like, this is like a little too good. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
want it. And so she kind of sabotaged herself a little bit, which makes sense why we saw her kind of midway through be like, but I do like him. Yeah, I
Right.
like him. After telling him she didn't, it was like, okay, I get why you were kind of on this roller coaster. So were we, because we were
Yeah.
trying to figure out where your feelings were.
But that's what made it too like more real, I feel like, with them, because it was just like it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I love you so much, like right away. It was like very like authentic, like getting to know, being unsure, becoming
Yeah,
friends,
yeah.
solidifying, then Casa, then all
Mm-hmm.
this. So it was just like a perfect story or perfect,
No.
it was just like a good
No,
arc.
it was a very good arc. Something that stood out to me from their Chicks in the Office interview was Cordell talking about returning from Casa.
Oh yeah.
So he was pretty much just like, as soon as I walked in, in other words, he said, as soon as I walked in, I knew I was fucked.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
knew that this was stupid. And like he was like, I was trying to make like good choices, but like I knew it was a stupid choice, like from the moment I walked in, which makes sense because I was like, Cordell kind of changed up fast, like especially in respect to Daya. Like he was all
Yeah.
over her, and she was like, upset. And I guess from the moment he stepped in, he knew it was not a good idea.
Yeah. And then like because he said it was either in this one or when they were on Vile Files, he was like, all I saw was Serena smiling. And I knew I
Yeah.
was in trouble.
Yeah, he
And I
did
was just
say
like,
that.
you were.
You were, man, you were. You clocked it right. And so I guess I guess Casa is really like La La Land because what? Like all of their judgment went out the window. It was funny because during Kenny and Janae's thing, Kenny was like, it's so crazy to me because Aaron and Cordell went into Casa saying we're gonna sleep with our clothes on, we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna do that. And then I see them
They're
in
breaking
Casa
everything.
not doing what they said they would do. So it kind of makes sense. Like I feel like Casa was really just like turn up time for all of them, you know? And they really thought about things one way, and then coming back to the villa was very sobering.
Yeah, it was like, did you ever see the movie Don't Worry, Darling with Harry
No.
Styles and Florence Pugh? Well, like
No.
the reveal is that they're really in like a simulation and like Harry like set it up because he was like a loser in the real world. So he like made it so and Florence was like a doctor. So he like knocked her out and signed her up for this simulation where they like basically have like their eyes like forced open and it's like they're in like this 1950s society where the men go to work and the women depend on them. And I'm like, it wasn't really like that in Casa, but just like an alternate reality where it's like, what the fuck's happening? You know? Where it's
Yeah,
just kind
that's
of like,
yeah.
where the fuck? And then like you go back to the real world and you're like, wait a minute, where was I?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
No, that makes sense. That's I really feel like that's how it was for all of them, like a fever dream.
right? They're like, oh my gosh, these girls, they appreciate us so much, and like, there's all these beautiful women. And then they went back home and they're like, but the love of my life is here.
Yeah. Because it almost made me feel like, is it genuine you going back to Serena? And for Kenny too, like, is it genuine you going back to Janae? But I feel like for him, it was like, nah, it was clear. I made the wrong choice. I need to do something different. And then
Yeah.
during the interview, he was also saying, well, Serena was explaining how much he took accountability and how
Mm-hmm.
he told her everything down to like even things he said
Yeah.
and like things that he did, things that he said. And she was like, that made all the difference for me. And I was like, okay, that makes even more sense too. Like movie night did hurt her, but she knew what she was gonna see, you know?
Yeah. She knew what to expect, and then he didn't throw a fit like Aaron afterwards. So, which they
Aaron's
pointed
bitch
out, they were like,
ass.
you kind of handled it differently than certain other people did, which
And they're like,
helped.
yeah, 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 I handled it differently. And they didn't really comment on Aaron and Kaylor during that one.
Yeah,
But it was night and day.
it was. And he did just a fun side note. He mentioned because they brought up the breakfast thing, and
Oh
they were like,
yeah.
why did you do that? And he was like,
Yeah.
Miguel even told me not to. But I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, King Miguel, he knew.
Literally, Miguel is literally the person y'all were depending on Kendall for advice, should have been going to Miguel. Like, Miguel
Kendall
is
was like, that's a
smart.
great idea. It was
Make it for
amazing.
both of them the exact same way.
Actually, hand it to them at the same time. You should do that.
And and then Cordell was like, "Yeah, I should have known it was a bad idea, but like I had made breakfast for her every day." And then he was like, "Well, it's whatever, because that guac was good. She missed out." And I was like, "Not you finally learning how to make guacamole that she would miss out on,
I know,
because
right?
I don't remember your guac looking so good."
Took y'all long enough.
Hmm.
The Janae and Kenny one was funny. I
It
like
was.
them. Did you see the TikTok where they were like, Kenny? And then he goes,
No.
Chicks. It was
Whose
funny.
whose account was it on?
It was on the Chicks the Office one. It was a
Oh
cute
no,
one.
I didn't see it.
Um,
I have to find it now.
But yeah, they were talking about their thing because Janae's whole thing was her and Serena like manifested Kenny because I guess the night before they were like, oh my gosh, like I want someone who's like over 6 foot from New
Yeah.
York, Hispanic. And then Kenny came in at 6'2" from the Bronx and he's Dominican. And she's like, oh my God, what did we do? And I'm like, that's fucking funny.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
but then when they talked about Casa, she was like, "Oh, I know he's not stupid. Like he's not gonna bring another girl." And then when she saw him with Catherine, she was like, "This motherfucker's stupid. Like why would
He
he
is
do?"
stupid.
And then we learned there was even more. Janae said, I guess when she was upset, Kenny was like, "All I heard was his mama didn't raise him right, Ari. His mama didn't raise him that well."
Yeah. Which is wild. It's funny because yeah, Kenny kind of explained it. He was like, we walked out smiling. I'm with Catherine. Catherine's a great girl. And then I just see Janae taking her mic off and then like talking shit, looking like she's about to leave. And I was like, dang, I feel, and he said something like he just felt bad that he like caused it. And he
Yeah.
was like, he never expected to cry, but like the whole thing, I'm sure the dramatics of it all just made him feel so bad.
I mean, I'll rewatch their moment after the Casa recoupling every day for the rest of my life when she's like, "You just didn't care about me enough." And he was like, "I want to be with you. I'm gonna leave if you leave." And she's like, "No, fuck this. No, I can't." And then they give me a hug. And then, and then he goes to
That's
Leah.
the part for me, not getting up to hug him after
Right. And then
roasting
he
his
goes
wife.
to Leah and Serena and he's like, "She says she's leaving." And I think that was the moment where Kenny changed for me. I think seeing him cry, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, like I like this. Like this is actually sweet. This feels." He's like, "I hate that I hurt her so much." And I'm like, "He
No,
cares." I'm like,
he really
"Damn."
did. And it was, I don't know, I believed his tears. I was
I
just
did
like,
too.
Kenny,
And he showed it
poor
afterwards. He's
Kenny.
like obsessed with her. So I'm like, "Okay. It's like this
him
is
him
fine."
feeding her and stuff. It's like Kenny.
Yeah.
And
I'm like,
it's
Kenny.
funny because he's not even being goofy with it. He's just
No, he's like dead
like
serious. He's like looking at
he's
her
like
like in love.
slowly giving her food.
I'm like, this
And
is
I'm
what
like,
Janae deserves.
no, for real. Because the rest of us are like, bitch, if you don't feed yourself, like I cannot take Janae seriously. It just seems funny to me. But he's all in it. He's like, that's my queen. Where's Janae?
I know. They're amazing. I love
Yeah.
them. And I hope they
Uh,
stay together for a long time.
Me too. I don't think anything else stood out to me from their
Oh,
thing.
there
That
was
was it.
the one just the one moment because I think it was Rhea asked her like, "Oh, we saw your friendship with Rob," and she was like, what friendship?"
Yeah.
And she was just like, I mean, like, we like kind of talked a little bit at one point when we were both single, but like, there was no friendship. I couldn't stand him. I wanted him with Leah, but
Yeah.
like, I didn't like him. And I'm like,
Yeah.
period. Set us straight.
Yeah.
Because people on Twitter were like trying to be like, they're the real couple. Twitter, I swear, is full of like, look, there's some funny people, but there's some people I'm like,
What's
like
going on?
people acting like they know everything when they know nothing. I'm like, what is going
Literally
on? Like
make it
even
make sense.
lately, they saw Rob on Leah's horse, and they're like, I thought Miguel was gonna be the first one, and I'm like, they're literally all there, and they all went on the horse.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
I saw that too, and I was like, wait a minute. But it was so Janae, it's Janae's fault actually this time. You
And
know how
Janae
like
posted,
information isn't coming from the source, like
it's not
Aaron just so happens to record Kaylor's friend talking shit about Leah.
right.
Janae just so happens to make a vlog of their day when they all went to Universal. And
Uh-huh.
after Universal, they go back to Leah's house, which is a
A
mansion, basically
mansion with like a farm, and I'm like, I want
I
to
was like,
go.
Rob, I don't think you're punching this guy, but if I were you, well, me and my personality, I'd be a little salty if I find out the girl I passed up on is like rich
Rich,
and
rich, the
lives
most followed, the most
the
loved.
most love, the most everything. Like you fumbled a queen.
Well, because he's trash. I hate him, and we'll get to
No,
that with
he
the
doesn't
caller
even
daddy.
deserve her. So if I
No.
was him, I'd be punching this guy. But knowing him, he's like, I made the right decision for myself. Fuck you, Rob. I never want to hear you talk again.
Oop.
Anyway, anyway, Janae posted a vlog, and so near the end, you see Rob on Leah's horse, which just, I mean, I think it was just because they were hanging out. They were all super drunk,
Yeah.
as Leah explains later. They were
Yeah.
all really drunk. I think it was just like, oh, they're at my house. Come
And
see my
he's into
animals.
animals. It makes sense.
It makes
Like,
sense. Like I see him being like, I have to get on this horse. Not even her being like, do you want to? And him being like, oh no, I'm not sure. Like he probably
yeah.
got on the horse before she arrived. You know what I
He's probably
mean?
just there, and she's like, you know what? Okay.
Yeah. yeah. And I can't tell. So she did a TikTok showing all of her animals. It's 8 minutes long. It's amazing because you also get to see her beautiful house.
I know, right?
And I can't tell if this is her horse or if it's the other horse because she has a horse that's like her
Oh
horse, and then
yeah.
she has a rescue horse with one eye, and I can't tell which horse this is. So it may be personal to her, it may not be. Regardless, they were drunk, and I'm 100% sure Miguel doesn't care.
Right. Miguel's like, it's fine. And like
Yeah.
he's like over here just like defending. I saw some comments where he was like defending Leah or something. Because people are like, I
Good.
can't believe Rob. And he's like, it's not even like a big like what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Like they really during her interview, I feel like we really get to understand how they like hashed out their stuff in the villa.
Oh yeah. Cause okay, so who should we jump to next? Should
Let's
we
just get Kaylor out of the way.
yes, I was gonna say let's get Kaylor in the Vile Files. It was
Yeah, I really don't have anything for Kendall and Nicole other than the fact that someone sent Kendall. I don't know if they sent him merch or he just did a Zara haul for fun.
oh, I
I was
did
like,
see that.
oh,
Well,
I was like,
there's suspicions that Kendall and Nicole aren't together.
yeah, I don't believe it. Do you?
I they're not doing anything to put out that rumor.
I mean, I don't think they're in the same vicinity.
They were at Universal.
Oh, did they go to Universal together?
They were there. She's been out. It's just like they've been out
Oh,
separately. They're not posting like the other couples. Because even Miguel and Leah aren't physically together, but they're like FaceTiming. They're talking. She's posting about him.
I don't know if they're both just private because I looked this morning, Nicole's most recent videos from 4 days ago. Maybe they're just not posting. I feel like if they did decide to end things, I wouldn't know why. Like that wouldn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But I don't know. There's an energy in the air that at first I was like, okay, y'all, like it's literally the day after. Like give them a break.
Yeah.
But it's just ever since, I don't know. So we'll find out for sure either at the reunion or before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess we'll see. But
I don't think Kendall would be looking this happy trying on clothes from Zara if they broke up.
maybe not, but I don't know. Cause that it would be wild because they literally just professed their love to each other. But
Yeah.
maybe when the cameras went down. The guards went up.
Because they were together. Let me look at the group photos that were posted and let me see if are they standing next to each other at least?
I think they were, but it looks like I don't know. It just doesn't seem. It's not giving for me. Which I'm not a conspiracy theorist when it comes to these people. I feel like people look into stuff too much. But with this, there is an energy. There's like an energy. I can't explain it. And I didn't watch their interview. They did like one with Ryan Bailey, maybe one other one. Oh, I will say, just to get a little back to Janae, there was one interview she did. I forget what it was called, but
I'm so sorry, Brandon.
what?
It doesn't look good at
Right? It
all.
doesn't look good.
I'm dead. Hold on. So Love Island posted all of their pictures from Universal Studios, right? Okay, so one of them, Kendall's taking the selfie. Nicole is kind of standing near him, but they're not like arms around each other. There's a group picture. The girls have their arms around each other. Kendall is like standing behind Nicole. Then they're on a ride, and it's Kendall, Kaylor, Rob, Nicole. Like she's on the other side of the ride. Like maybe people are onto
Something
something.
must have happened.
Oh no. Okay, here's one of them together. Look at them.
Yeah.
Only one though.
They're like barely.
I'm pretty sure they're still together, but I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. We'll see though. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to
Um,
see.
Janae was talking about in some interview. I forget what it's called, what the podcast was called, but it was on YouTube and they were talking about the like manifesting Kenny thing. But she said, and I feel like we kind of touched on this throughout the season, they were like none of the bombshells that were coming in were into me or Serena. And like
Yeah.
all this, like their types are like Kaylor or like Leah or like Nicole. So it was just like a hard experience, which so yesterday after my lunch I was supposed to hang out with Gia, but the plans fell through. So I was just like, and it was raining. So I was just like at home and I'm like, let me rewatch some Love Island. And I rewatched the Andrea dumping,
Hmm.
which was amazing. And but it was hard because like so the guys clearly wanted Janae to go,
Hmm.
which thankfully they didn't. She didn't because we wouldn't have gotten Janae and Kenny, and we wouldn't have gotten
I
Janae at all.
know.
But it was very much you could see Serena and Janae very much close to each other, and she was like consoling her when she was crying. And I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
you could tell they were just like going through this experience together. So
Yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know.
even on one of the first After Suns, maybe the first or second, Ariana was like, why isn't anyone trying for Janae? Like, what's going
Right?
on? I don't know. I don't have any information for why, but I do feel like Black women don't really get a lot of love on reality TV, especially like dating shows. Like
I've heard
I'm not
from,
saying that I'm not
yeah.
saying that people are racist. I'm just saying in general, Black women don't get a lot of love. And we kind of saw two Black women not get a lot of love.
Yeah, the podcast Bitches Better, they talked about how it's like that on a lot of Love Island seasons and like
Oh
the
yeah,
UK and that.
it makes
So
sense. Yeah,
it's
because
unfortunate.
did Janae go on any dates?
She did
Oh, well, she did
with
on a date with
Kenny.
Kenny.
Was
Yeah.
when Kenny.
Kenny. Nigel took Serena, but I think that
Nigel
was
did
the
take
only
Serena.
date that they went on. I mean, there weren't that many dates, but yeah, I feel like in general, the people who were kind of like the guys were after were like Leah, kind of
Kaylor.
Liv, Kaylor. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
kind of like the three of them, not
Hmm.
anybody else. So,
But, speaking of
you know,
Kaylor, a
yeah,
mess
let's
on
talk
Wild
about her.
Wild. Kaylor, this interview was interesting.
Brandon.
Why?
I feel like you're
Fuck.
already being fuck, Brandon. I feel like you're already being negative. I actually kind of liked it. I felt like she was a little endearing. I was like, "Aw, Kaylor. See, we're not on the same page. It's okay."
I mean, she wasn't not like, it's just, I can't feel bad for someone who is saying like, "Oh, I know this is bad and I
Oh
know it's
yeah.
stupid saying with him, but I feel like I need to do this." Like, I
Yeah.
don't know where to go with this. Like, so what am I supposed to do with this? Like,
You can never put in a fight that involves love, logic, reasoning kind of goes out the window until you have to acknowledge it.
yeah.
So we can't I agree with you, but we can't use logic here
No. And
because
that's
obviously she doesn't want to
fine.
consider it.
No, she doesn't. And like, but then she tries to act like she does. So I'm just like, I don't know. Um, it's just like, I don't know. And then Nick was very like, I don't know. Nick gets on his high horse
He's
because
kind of being like a dad.
he was, and I'm like, he said something like, "The one moment I didn't like from you was when you did," and I forget even what the moment was. But then he would try to like hold her hand and be like, "It's okay. Like I get it. Like da 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 da. But like, it's hard." And it's just like, okay, you have a lot of sympathy for someone who's the making of their own misery, but you throw a lot of shade towards other people who you claim do the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing.
Like who?
I will never forgive him because he threw shade at Sierra from Summer House
Hmm.
because she had like this past season, this like kind of romantic thing build with this guy West, who was like
Hmm.
this new guy. And he was kind of like, he's not that, they're both like 27, 28, but he was very much like, hasn't really been in a relationship, kind of scared to commit. And she was kind of being slow with it. And then he was like worried why she wasn't sleeping with him. And she was like, I'm not going to sleep with someone that I'm not going to like try and date. Like, it has to be like, there has to be intention. And
Hmm.
so they kind of went back and forth, but then after filming, it became more serious. He took her to his like a wedding as a wedding date.
I think you told me about this. Yeah.
Introduced to the parents, stayed out of town with the brother. and then in December broke it off and was just like it blamed it like kind of like on the show, like, oh, I kind of want to do this on my own, or like something like that, like something weird. And Nick just had this take of just like, Sierra has no one to blame but herself. Wes told her who he was and all this stuff. And like the other co-hosts are just like, well, then he did stuff afterwards that made it seem like, oh, like he was trying to like be in a relationship. Like,
Yeah.
and he was like, oh, but she knew and da 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 da. And we shouldn't feel bad for her. And like, that's just the way it is. Like, a very like, and
Oh.
even to this day, they'll talk about Summer House and like the other people on like the show, like Sierra, and it's just like, because they were talking about like because they're filming the new season and they're like, we don't think Wes should be bringing any new girls like to the thing and like rubbing it in Sierra's face just yet because it's like fresh or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, why not? Why are people trying to defend Sierra? And they're like, because we like Sierra and he was wrong. Like he's just very like stern in that stance. And he just gets on his high horse and he talks very. I don't like how he jumped on the Vanderpump Rules train as it was getting him like a Scandival was happening. All of a sudden he's talking about it every day and then trying to like, oh, with even like this Tom lawsuit suing Ariana, it's just like I think he's just stupid and like kind of making excuses, but then being like the real villain's Rachel, and I'm like, no, actually, like Rachel is actually the stupid one, and the real villain is Tom. But
This is interesting. Have we just discovered a man who hates women, but like only certain women?
yes, we
Because
have.
to be upset at Rachel and not at Tom, there's something fucked up in your head.
There is,
Like either keep it the same energy for both of them or acknowledge that he was grooming her. But you can't ignore
yeah,
that fact. Like,
he
and then
does. It's like a lot, and I'm
and
like,
I
I
just
just don't
googled
care for him.
Sierra.
A model,
She's
beautiful.
beautiful, but
West
again, like we
Wilson would be lucky.
to
And
stay
that's
with
what
her.
because what was it at the reunion? He was like, I just didn't want to be seen as like Sierra's puppet. And Paige DeSorbo, Giggly Squad goes, that would be a lucky spot for you to be in.
What's her
And
last name?
period. Who? Sierra Miller. Miller. I don't know why I spelled it as if like that's a complicated word.
Brandon,
What?
she's black. I'm telling you, black women don't get love, man. You only got a couple, you only can do so much before people just write you off and characterize you as such. I don't know why Taylor, I don't know why Kaylor got so much sympathy for him, but it is interesting because if he was hating on Sierra and Raquel, there has to be something that they do that irks him, and that's just why he doesn't like them, you know?
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's just interesting because it was just like, and
Yeah.
like, look, I don't think Kaylor's an awful person. So I'm not saying like let's
Hmm.
hate on Kaylor, but I'm kind of just like, I can't like invest myself in this stupidity.
I mean, I I I can because I get it.
Okay.
I
I mean,
get
yeah.
her. I get it because should we just get into it? Let's
Yeah. What
let's
were your
talk about this
takeaways?
point specifically. Kaylor choosing Aaron anyway. Why? Well, she said because Nick asked her, "What were your last relationships like?" And Kaylor was basically like her last boyfriend was obsessed with her, was 100% loyal, wanted to marry her, which is not what she gets with Aaron. But on the flip side, he was very controlling. He didn't let her like when she didn't want her to post certain things, didn't want her to wear
Mm-hmm.
certain things, didn't want her to do certain things. Whereas Aaron is like, "Oh my gosh, you look beautiful. Let me take your picture. Oh my gosh, everybody look at how beautiful my person is." And then we'll like dance on a table with her and be crazy and goofy with her. So I think that Aaron brings out like certain aspects of her. And
Mm-hmm.
also
Which I
like
agree. That is
and I don't
good.
th- yeah, and I don't think we've seen all of their good moments, you know? We see him making up for stuff, but we didn't really see like their just genuine friendship from jump, like what they really like about each other. So I think she's kind of focused on that. Like, all right, he doesn't take responsibility. Maybe that can get better if he goes to therapy, you know? But
Maybe.
maybe that's how she thinks about it. I'm just trying to put myself in her shoes.
Maybe. I mean, I get it. if we look at I get like she's just ignoring that part. And I think she even said she's like, I'm not trying to think about that all of it right now. I just want to enjoy and live in the moment. And I can get that.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy being with him, but then I just like, okay, I don't want to hear more crying. It was like in the villa when we kept
Yeah.
hearing crying and
I
like the
get it.
same thing. That's
It's
the thing.
like,
I'm like, if you
yeah.
accept it, accept it. But I don't want
Hmm.
to like you know. So like I don't now want to hear more. I'm
Do
like,
not get on TikTok live and drop a single
no.
tear, Kaylor,
Don't do
because we
like just
told you.
unless it's the official breakup. I don't want to hear about the ups and downs. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
I saw a TikTok of her bringing him to Chipotle for the first time. I'm like, okay, like that was kind of cute,
Yeah.
but I'm like,
No, I get it. I get it. I think that there's things that she sees in him, but she is definitely like, I'm young, I just think she said a couple times, I just think, I'm 22. I'm gonna like have people I break up with, make up
she is
with,
very
hook
young.
up with, you know, and I think this is just where I'm at, which is valid because I also like it's funny because I've been talking to a lot of family lately who are like, Maggie, you made a bad choice here, right? Don't you regret it? Wasn't I right? Didn't I tell you? And I'm like, yes, but also like I feel like I needed to learn that thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's on right now is basically like, let me make my choice. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make my choice because you told me to. I'm gonna make a choice when I feel like making a choice. And I feel
Right.
like that's
And
just
I
kind of what
get
she's
that
on.
too. I
Yeah.
understand. I'm like, you do it, don't do it just because of
Yeah.
social media pressure.
Right. Do it because you want to.
Yeah, so I will agree with that. And
Yeah.
like, again, although it may seem like I'm being a Kaylor hater, it's not necessarily Kaylor. Well, like, it kind of
It's
is. I don't know.
Aaron.
It's
And no, it's
Aaron.
Aaron.
It's just both. It's like, oh my God.
No, it sucks because she starts off the interview saying this, like, this is why I like Aaron. I'll take the risks. And then he starts asking her questions like, do you understand why America's mad at Aaron and not Kordell? And she's like, yeah, Aaron didn't take accountability. Like, she
It's like,
knows.
okay, you
She
know.
has all the answers.
It's like, so two plus two equals what, Kaylor? And she's like, it equals fuck. And it's like, no, it equals break up with him. But whatever, I guess have fun. I don't
Mm,
know.
no, for real. Because like Nick said that one moment he didn't like was when she was like, I can't stay mad at him after he came back from Casa.
That
And
was it
he's
where
like,
he was like, I was disappointed or something. And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
shut up.
Well, yeah, we'll
I
get to
get
Nick
it,
in a
but
second.
shut
We'll
up.
get to Nick in a second. But he was basically saying, like, it excuses Aaron's behavior. It almost makes it okay to do
Yeah.
that in the future, which is not necessarily what Kaylor is saying, but I think what toxic people will interpret
It
like,
sets a
oh, but
precedent.
it sets a precedent. There we go.
Hmm.
So I just wrote, I'm surprised she knows all this and is still with him.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's like she's very self-aware, knows that it's not good, doesn't like certain things that he does, but still accepts him. I mean, and then she also talks about how she's loyal to a fault. I mean, like if we're talking like in serious terms, like this is what unconditional love is. To like accept all of a person and not knock them on the because nobody is perfect. And I think that's kind of what she's going for is like I accept these parts. And even though we're all very concerned, she's like, no, I'm going to love him for everything that he is, the good and the bad. Like, I think that's what she's
I
saying.
guess, but when does it become, it's almost like toxic unconditional love because you're accepting him not taking accountability for fucking you over.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
commendable. That's like, oh, someone
And
save
we,
her. Get her
right.
on Leah's horse and let her run in the night
into into the sunset.
into the
Somebody set her free.
sunset.
No, it's true because I think they asked her something like, has Aaron changed his stance? Has he told you more details? Has he blah blah blah? And the answer is no. Like
No.
she's like, well, but they've also kind of just been on vacation, so it hasn't really come up as much as it does in the villa when you're talking about your feelings and
And that's
emotions
true
all day.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So we'll see, but
we'll s-
Kaylor's down bad, fam. But I
she
don't know.
is.
I do not agree. I don't think that Aaron's the best for her. She's a beautiful, young, caring girl with a big heart, and she's smart. Like I think that she could do better, but I feel like she just has to learn that by herself and she'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't agree that they should be together, but who knows? Maybe it could work out. Maybe he could change. I don't know.
Maybe even though they didn't make it to the finals of Love Island, they'll make it in the finals of life.
And they'll be okay.
I hope not,
Because we
girl.
did, I
Leave.
was like, Brandon, let's pick our brains for just 2 seconds.
All right.
What good aspects did we see of Aaron? When did we see him being a
Okay.
good, nice guy with Kaylor or without Kaylor?
I think in the beginning, he
Mm-hmm.
was charming. There were some
Mm-hmm.
things because I remember her saying that he was mean to her about her body count.
Yes.
And there was like some other things. He was mad about her kissing someone else in a challenge, but it seemed like they worked through it and it was
Yeah.
fine. And he was sweet. And I still go back to the plant conversation with Janae where he was being very nice and like
He
trying to help
was.
her. There were moments. It really was
Yeah.
Casa. We saw how fake he is.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, when he didn't own it, when he kept saying, I'll never forget. He's like pulling Janae aside after the Casa Amor recoupling. He's like, I promise you, there's just like so much you haven't seen, and like there's so much to say. Like, you guys saw a 2 minute video. And I'm like, that's not comforting because there's worse. There's
It's
worse.
worse.
You're
He
lucky that's
acts
all
like
they saw.
he's like, that was my worst moment. No, it wasn't.
That
Like,
was
there was
light.
so
That
much.
was nothing.
I love how even when I'm like, what good did we see? It goes straight back to the bad because what the fuck? And then, you know what else? So I saw the good in how loyal of a friend Aaron is, but where is that energy for Kaylor? And they talked about it during the interview, and she was also like, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, Aaron was ready to leave the villa with Rob. And I was like, are you gonna leave me
Like, do you not know why you're here?
to go
He's
with Rob?
saying, accusing the girls of Friendship Island because
Yeah,
they
no.
saved Janae, which, again, thank God they got rid of Andrea. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, the girl seems nice, but she's cringe as fuck. And her and Rob are disgusting. But
Tell
not
us how you really
disgusting.
feel.
They just were like stupid. I don't know. Not disgusting. I mean, I'll take that back. But they were just like, eh.
I
Um,
retract my statement.
I retract slightly. But thank God they kept Janae. And then, but you're saying that, but you're about to leave Kaylor to be with
Mm-hmm.
Rob. And he was like, I was just
Mm-hmm.
saying that for, like, him to like stay. And I'm like, but why would that make him stay? Like, what?
Yeah, no. And then how he would defend Rob all the time and all that stuff, but like doesn't I mean, I guess we know that if somebody is against Kaylor, Aaron will be 10 toes down. But we didn't see an instance where he would do that for her on the show for some reason. Like it just didn't
No,
it
there
didn't
was
come up.
no examples.
No
Um,
examples.
but maybe in real life there will be. Um,
Brandon, you're so funny. Not no
roll the
example.
footage. We can't.
Let's find it. They're like, there's actually no footage.
Well, we must have been out of tape. Nothing's popping up. Um, they talked about the story with the friend saying that about Leah,
Yes.
where it was like Aaron's Insta story, and you could hear in the background Leah, or not Leah, Kaylor on the phone with no, not Sydney, the Casa girl, just in case you really thought it was, because she really thought everyone thought that. Um, she was like, no one's gonna give a fuck about Leah in 6 months, da 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 da.
Hmm.
And then Kaylor was saying, like, oh, I told Leah about it. We talked about it. Basically, the friend was just comforting because I guess Kaylor was getting a lot of hate because of Leah's comment to her about white woman scared.
Hmm.
Which, just to give a sneak peek of the Call Her Daddy with Leah, they talked about that. And
Yeah.
Leah was just like, I pointed at the balcony and she acted like I was gonna fucking punch her. And she was like, I didn't think they would
Yeah.
use that comment though.
Yeah.
Um, but it was just basically like I guess people were calling Kaylor racist because of it. Which I
Yeah.
mean, and Leah said like
That's
we didn't get racist from her, so like I don't know why people were saying that. I get why
yeah,
they
that's kind
would
of a
say like why are
stretch.
you acting like that, but not like racist.
Yeah, I think I'm more so, yeah. I wish that Taylor would explain why she said that. Like
Yeah.
I just want to understand why you were like, oh, like,
Right? Like
bitch,
we need to
what are
dive
you
into that. Maybe at
doing?
the reunion. Ariana, ask real quick why she acted like she was gonna get
And maybe
hit.
we need to hear the whole argument to understand. But I also like, I know they're sleep deprived. I know that it's a fever dream. Like, I know emotions are heightened,
Yeah.
whatever. Because even both Leah and Serena looked at Kaylor like, girl, what?
She was like, You're
What are you
doing too
afraid of?
much. Like, what's
Serena was like,
happening?
I'm not gonna hit you. And then Leah just says, what's on her mind? It's giving white woman
It's
scared.
giving white woman scared, please.
Yeah. So her friend was comforting her, which is funny because I said that.
Yeah.
Go listen to episode 30 of our podcast,
Episode
33 minutes
30.
in. I was like, I remember saying that. I had to go find it. But I was like, maybe her friend was just like saying it to comfort her. Like in 6 months, no one's gonna care about Leah. Just like, girl, it's gonna blow over soon, is basically what her friend is telling
Yeah.
her. And
Yeah.
Aaron's a dick for not even thinking to listen back his video before he posted
And
to
he's not apologizing. He's like, I did nothing wrong. And it's like, okay, but like you did.
Oh, did she say he didn't apologize for that?
Yeah, she
Oh
was just like, he
gosh.
says he did nothing wrong. And I think Nick was like, see, that disappoints me. And I'm like, I agree with you, Nick, but shut the fuck up. But
Nick
he
will
could just,
never get
even if Aaron
sympathy
would just
from
be like, oh
Brandon.
my gosh, I'm sorry, like I didn't even notice you were talking, because Aaron was
Yeah.
talking at the same time. So he could have
Yeah.
been like, I was just listening to what I was saying. I didn't even pay attention, but that is my bad.
No, that literally used to happen to me all the time when I was like obsessed with being on Snapchat. I would record stuff and then I'm like, list I like can I always watch it before I post it and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you guys said that in the background. Like, let me delete this." I just think Aaron wasn't paying attention. They were both probably drunk or just sleep deprived again. Like
Yeah,
people just show their ass on sleep deprivation, which is really like if we think about it, it all comes back to like this show just putting people in situations that are good for TV, which also means that those situations are not good for them. you
right.
know? Like we see them in the worst of the worst, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Uh, but
yeah.
was there anything else with the Kaylor interview?
Just so something that they were trying to tell Kaylor was that Sydney during her interview with them said that Aaron called Kaylor or Aaron called Daniela Kaylor
Oh
and
yeah.
tried to get into her pants. I knew the get into her pants. Didn't know that he was like so out of it that he called Daniela Kaylor. Did you
I
know that?
vaguely remember it. I think it just happened once. He like
Okay.
said Kaylor instead of Daniela.
I was like, that's different, surprising, but okay.
That was another thing
Uh
in the interview that annoyed me though, because they kept being like, maybe Casa won't be that bad because you built it up. And they just kept saying it. And I was just like, just let her watch. Just shut up. Let her
yeah,
watch. Like, stop
they were
telling her
like
how they think she's gonna feel. Just have her let her watch. She's gonna feel how she's gonna feel. She's gonna stay with him. We know.
yeah, they were almost coddling her in a way, like giving her bad news, but coupling it with positive affirmations and positive
Yeah,
insights. Like, I think they know that she's probably in a very vulnerable state, and we're like trying to. And I mean, really, Nick dominated the whole conversation. I barely heard the other girls talk.
that's what he does because
I
he
don't even
doesn't.
know their names.
Who was there? It was his wife. I think she was there, Natalie, or maybe not. She could have not been there for that. I forget because sometimes she's there, sometimes she's not because they have a newborn. So sometimes she'll leave at certain parts.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah. So see, we don't even know if she was there. Um,
but yeah, he usually dominates and often doesn't let the guests speak that much and just like,
No, I mean, I kind of get it because he was like, Kaylor was like, yeah, I was with a person. And he's like, yeah, I'm not a Christian anymore, but I was a Christian. And when I was dating somebody who wasn't a Christian, it was hard. But then I found someone who kind of met the fault or fixed whatever the other person didn't have. And so, and then going back to you, and I'm like, Nick.
Nick, your life is not as interesting as you think it is. Okay.
No, he definitely was a yapper. The only other thing I just noted was that she said she's scared, but she will take it a day at a time and see how it goes.
Yeah, she'll be all right. She's gonna stay with him for a while, but we'll see by the reunion. I'm sure it'll be a hot topic,
Yeah.
their situation at the
Mm-hmm.
reunion,
We will
and
see. I wonder
can't
when
wait
they're
to
gonna
see it.
record it. It probably has to be sometime next week, by the 10th at least, if it's coming out the 19th.
I would imagine because they roll over these Love Island episodes pretty quickly, but I feel like reunions tend to have a little bit more glitz and glam. There's like entrances, there's that. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. All I know is Ariana's gonna stunt. Everyone's
Yes,
gonna
she
show out.
is.
Leah's
Yeah.
probably gonna wear some like vintage Versace as she wears all the time.
Leah's gonna be dressed to the nines. I saw on her TikTok, she said her sister is responsible for most of her looks. And I'm like,
Oh,
y'all just have
period.
great taste. I know they fitted her and ordered whatever she's gonna wear already. I'm
Yes.
excited for it.
Okay, I think the next two people are just like Rob and Leah as far as interviews.
Yeah.
Should we
Want
start
to do
with
Rob
Rob?
first?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because he
let's
just
get
had the
Rob out of
one.
the way.
Call Her Daddy. I watched it today just to refresh my mind a little bit.
Okay.
Um, one thing I did note with him, well, one main thing, the host definitely wanted to fuck him. Um,
What gave you that vibe?
the whole thing, she's just like Rob, and was just like giggling and just like the energy. I'm like, interesting.
I
Um,
I I didn't feel that, but I'm really oblivious. Like some things just need to be written in the sand and in the stars for me to understand it's happening. So I'll take your word for it. I kind of got the vibe that he didn't want to be there.
well, that's him with everything.
Right. I was like,
So
why are you doing this interview if you're just gonna be like, no, I don't want to talk. I mean, obviously he doesn't have to talk about everything, but it was giving like he was just like, I'm nervous. No, I'm not. I didn't say that. And it's like, what?
he needed a lot of coddling.
He
And
did.
like, you'll be all right. Just answer the question. You know who he is? He's like even more sociopathic Tom Schwartz. Just
Oh my
very
gosh,
like,
do you
just
think
saying
so?
things to say things. I'm like, why are you talking?
That's what makes me feel like he's acting. Like I think he's just like this is hard because like there's no takes, so I don't get to do something again.
No, but for real, well, I realized one thing I noted. He's very cognizant of the words he says.
He is.
Like, because there was one moment, because they were talking about Andrea entering the villa, and she was like, "You said, like, oh my gosh, that's like the hottest woman I've ever seen." And he's like, "I said that?" And like, but did they also show afterwards
Yeah.
when I said that I hope her personality is terrible? And she's like, "Yes." And it's like, do you think that like makes it bad? Like, what do you mean? Like,
I think that Rob knew was kind of doing some damage control here, but not trying not to make it like it was subliminal damage control. Like I think he knew what people were hating on him for, and so he wanted to like kind of change the narrative a little bit. Because
oh
I was
yeah.
like, you didn't say that in the villa, but you're saying it now. So what is it?
And
How do
it
you
was
really feel?
right, and it was clear you wanted to leave Leah for Andrea, but you're acting like
Yeah,
you didn't.
right.
And that's why Leah got upset because she could tell.
Yeah.
Like,
No, exactly.
I
So like I kind of just have like notes throughout the conversation. I was like just making little things,
same. I
little
kind of took
notes.
just like a little takeaways, but what are your notes?
Perfect. So, from the beginning, either she said it or he said it. I think she did though. What's her name? Alex what?
Alex Cooper.
Alex Cooper. That's a very like reporter name. Did you know she's a Leo too?
She is.
That's
Fellow
crazy. We
Leo.
all
I could
just
see
out
it.
here. We're all out here.
We are. It's Leo
Um,
season.
right. So one of the first things I wrote was Rob was up front at all times, question mark. No. And so I think she was like, you were very upfront and blah blah blah. And I was like, and he's like, yeah, I tried to be. And I'm like, no, the fuck you
You were
weren't.
the opposite of upfront. You were
Exactly.
like, see, this is also Alex pissed me off because I'm like, did you watch the show?
Literally, some stuff she said, I was like, that's not
Because
true. And don't put that in his head because he believes you.
right, and even not to skip ahead too far, but just to lightly say, when she said they never showed the girls deliberate about the Andrea vote, yes, they did.
Lie.
I thought
Wrong.
at
You're
first I was like,
wrong.
maybe she means like they didn't show the full thing and she wants to
Yes.
see the full thing. And I'm like, okay, yes. But no, she was like, they didn't show anything. And I'm like, no, they
Yeah.
did.
No, they showed stuff. He was like, they didn't. He even knew she was wrong. I feel like Rob did all his homework, watched all the episodes, and like
Right.
knows.
Oh
He
no,
was
he
like, they didn't.
did.
And she's
He
like, oh yeah, no, they didn't. He's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, nah,
and like,
even knew you. I think he clocked that she was wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that pissed me off. I was like, he was not upfront at all times. And
No.
it's funny because Rob will say stuff like, yeah, I don't like people. I don't like being open. But then he was upfront at all times. Like, you contradict yourself, dude.
He
Whatever character
does.
you're trying to create is not a real person.
No. I'm like, and it's weird because I see TikToks. He's like back home. They were like in a dirty ass creek, just like
Mm-hmm.
swimming, catching snakes. And he's like, "Oh, I love this." And I'm like, "You're gonna catch something. Like, what are you doing?" Like, I can't.
Yeah. Oh, this is
Um,
recent?
recent, like he's back home with his friends, and they're like swimming in like a dirty creek, and like they just love
Oh,
to do that.
I refuse to go on his accounts, either of them.
I know.
But I'm glad you did your due diligence,
I think
Brandon.
it
Thank you
showed
for
up on
taking
my
one for the team.
FYP. I
Yeah.
think, hopefully.
So something else they said was that Andrea came 2 days in. It felt like so much more time had passed. I was like, 2 days? That doesn't sound right.
It doesn't. Was it two or was it? I mean,
You
not
know
that it
what?
matters.
I'm gonna look up the Love Island wiki because they have all the details.
Okay, look that up because I was
Um,
like, I thought it was three or four, which I mean, it's not again not that much of a difference. But I or even a week, which
right. I felt like he had more time with Leah than just like a couple days.
I thought so too. But I mean, who knows? Because it was the lingerie party. They weren't the first bombshells, but they were the first. No, they weren't even the first female because I always forget Liv was the first bombshell. And then it was Connor and Hakeem, and then it was her and Nicole.
Yeah. And I remember hearing from them on an after sun. So then how did she come 2 days in if we saw her on after sun? That had to be 6 real life days for us. So more days for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I remember the premiere was on like a Tuesday.
So maybe it was the first week. That's still 5 days.
It was at least within the first week. I don't know, because there was a lot of like mix up, I feel like, with times where they were like, it was like these few days or that few days. But she came, I guess, relatively early still. But because I know he mentioned during the interview, like him and Leah would be like, and I think Leah said it in hers, like, oh, like we wanted to talk to other people to get the full experience because we got close
No,
so quick.
I found it. She entered on day 6. Alex
Okay.
Cooper, get your facts straight, girl.
That's what I was
Day
like.
2?
Day two
The
did
fuck?
sound because I feel like
That doesn't
Liv
make sense.
entered day two.
Yes.
So like I'm like day two sounded early. I'm like,
Not Andrea.
no, no, fucking Andrea. Anyways,
Yeah, he came on day 6 and then on day 7 chose Rob. That's
yes,
Andrea.
because he did the big I'm sorry
Let's see
walk off.
let's see. Leah obviously entered on day 1. On
Mm-hmm.
day 2, Liv stole Rob. On day 5, blah blah blah. On day 8, Rod stood for the opportunity to be stolen. But when did they get back? On day 4, she recoupled with Rob, and then
Yes.
on day 8, he was stolen.
See,
So they
even
were
day
together
eight.
for basically day 8. Eight
Yeah,
days.
8 days. Yeah,
Days.
so they were together for a minute, longer than he
Yeah.
was with Andrea, because him and Andrea
Uh,
were only together for like 4 days.
Either she doesn't remember the beginning of the show or she didn't watch it all. I have a feeling it's the second one.
It's probably both. You know, she's usually good at interview. Well, I don't know. I
Well,
liked her
she's got
interview with
two facts
Ariana.
wrongs.
Did you ever watch Ariana's interview with her?
I did. It was amazing.
It was good, and it was like 2 hours. I was like, okay, they covered a lot.
I mean, there is a lot. I guess in your defense, Alex Cooper, there's a lot of Love Island to watch, whereas Vanderpump's a little easier to take in 1 day a week. One day a week.
That's true. And like they did just get out. I feel like they should have waited to do these interviews, but maybe not. I don't know. But
Yeah.
my thing about Rob is he like because they talk about the Leah, the like big
The fight.
argument, the fight,
Mm-hmm.
and he just like I he was like, "Oh, I was trying she just wouldn't ask me how I was feeling."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why would she ask you how you are
How you're
feeling?
feeling? Okay, so they say that this conversation between both interviews, we learned that this conversation took place at like 4 a.m. and it was
Yeah.
several hours long. It
Yes.
started off great. They both say the same thing. It started off great and then it progressively got worse. He was like, he got upset during the conversation. He needed someone to check on him and he wanted her to check on him because he claims he had a panic attack and that's why he was crying.
Oh. Um,
I don't know, Rob. What are you panicking about? But I'm not saying that it didn't happen. It's just still a little confusing. Why did you have a panic attack? Like he didn't explain that. He was just like,
literally, it's because you had to choose and you didn't want to look like a bad guy. That's
yeah,
it. And like you didn't want to hurt Leah. Leah's hurt. Just be honest with Leah. Instead, you snapped on Leah. You jumped in the pool. You then went on to say you guys couldn't find, I think what he said was they couldn't find their sexual groove or something
yeah,
like that. Which, because Alex was like, you said you had no sexual chemistry. And he's like, I didn't say that. Did I say that? Exactly. And it's like, well, that, even regardless, if you didn't say that, what you said implied that because not having your sexual groove is like having no sexual chemistry. So that made Leah feel bad and like disgusting. And that's what everyone took from it. So it's just like
yeah,
you were literally giving reasons as to why you were going to leave Leah and pick
yeah.
Andrea. You were like, you talk over me a lot and we don't have any sexual chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, meanwhile, your thing with Andrea is like, she's a great listener and I always have a boner around her. So like, what are we, what are we doing?
What is it? Even the whole like sexual chemistry thing is stupid because Rob, when Alex asks him or says, you basically told her like you didn't have sexual chemistry, he said, I didn't say that. Then he explains why he said that. So like,
Right? And it's like,
and I think it was semantics. Like I think he was trying to say that he didn't say it the way that Alex said it, but it's like still what I
what
don't know.
it that there's
What's the
no
point?
exactly. And he was like, I told her it wasn't her. It was like, because he was like, oh, when I before we kissed one time, I jokingly said go easy on me or something. And then she said she felt that throughout. And he was like, oh, I could totally feel that throughout. Like it felt like you didn't want to kiss me or something. Like, I don't know. But then as we learned from Leah, she was like, he said it so many times.
Yeah, and it was also confusing because I feel like we saw them make out a lot.
We did. Like at the dock. Like, I'm like, what are we like? This is the thing with Rob. He'll do things and then like he's very critical of women and how they react to things. Like even with
Mm-hmm.
Andrea, which I think Andrea's cringe, but I'm like, anyways. It's just he's very like he'll do things to like set them up, but then like act like, oh yeah, and I just didn't know, like kind of almost like I didn't like their reaction to that. Meanwhile, you're like planting seeds of like making them like not go crazy, but feel away. It's like, oh, you're gonna say you have no sexual chemistry. You're gonna keep saying, oh, go easy on me. But then you weren't
Yeah,
really acting like you wanted to kiss me. But then you weren't listening to me when I was trying to tell you I wanted to be with someone else. And like the thing is, it's clear that you didn't care about me. And it's like,
right.
what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
You just
Even
went in a
I just
whole
got
circle.
confused in what I was saying,
Right.
like trying to talk about what Rob says.
I think I think what really happened is he got caught up. He was like, "Don't worry, you don't have nothing to worry about with Andrea." And then they keep talking, and he's like, "Dang, I really like her." Like he
Yeah,
spoke to Andrea for like 2 hours, and it was really good con. And I think he was like, "Dang, I just told her not to worry, and now I do think she should worry, but I don't know how to break it to her, and so I'm scared and confused." And sure, maybe he did have a panic attack because of that. I just don't think he realizes that he made the whole thing about himself
yeah,
instead of the person who was being mostly affected, which was Leah. But I think
right.
maybe in to Rob, he was greatly affected too, because Alex asks him about his ex or about like what will he she asked him what will your exes say about you? And he was like, I think they'll say mostly good things except for one. Like I dated a girl and I should have ended things, but I didn't and I handled it all wrong and I still feel bad about it. I think Rob has a guilty conscience about relationships. And so with Leah, he was trying to like not feel guilty, knew he did it bad, but still was like kind of stuck. And so I
Yeah.
think he panicked because he's like, fuck, I'm gonna hurt another girl and I don't want to. I don't think he was intentionally malicious. I don't think he was intentionally manipulative, but switching things up to make someone feel bad about you instead of acknowledging their feelings is manipulative.
It is. And it's just like I don't trust him. There's
No,
something
I
when he
don't.
was talking, I was like, you're not a real person.
You're not. Or I think you're just trying to like really do damage control. Where if you were just being yourself and explained yourself, I think we would get you better.
Yeah. It's just like like just say how you're really feeling, but I think how he really feels isn't good.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
so he doesn't want to say it. I get it.
yeah, which like all
And
right.
and as a guy, like it kind of sucks. Like a girl breaking up with a guy, oh, I get it. When a guy breaks up with a girl, it's like you're a piece of shit, you know? Like
Yeah.
I also get that it's hard on your end. I do you remember when she asked or she was like, people are saying that you're a gaslighter and a manipulator. Is that true? And he's like, yes, no, maybe. I'm I hate you so much.
You
Just
are.
answer the question. So yes, if you said
The
yes
answer is
first, then yeah.
yes. You are a
Mm-hmm.
gaslighter. Yes.
You know you are.
Yeah, because the other thing that pissed me off was he kept being like he brought up like the backseat comment and
Mm-hmm.
all that. And he was like, I knew the thing is, I thought Leah would never lie to me. And then she lied to me because she said that she never talked shit about me and Andrea. And I'm like, that's actually not what she said. What she said
That's
was
not what she said.
she never
Mhm.
talked shit to Andrea about you, which
Yes.
Andrea confirmed. Now, she
Mm-hmm.
did say she overheard Leah talking shit, but she
But she
never
wasn't
went
saying
up to
it
her.
directly to you. Mm-hmm.
No, and of course, and if she did, so what? You fucked her over. But anyways, in like the backseat comment, now this is where Alex was like, they never showed any of the footage, and he's like, oh, that's crazy. And she was like, there's a conspiracy that maybe like they wanted to give Leah a bad edit, so they didn't want to validate it. And he's like, well, I heard, which I don't know if it's true, so I don't say, but I heard that like it wouldn't look good for her. And I'm like, well, they did show, and it didn't look bad, which I will say, in the Chicks in the Office interview with Leah, I appreciated, and we can get more into that with when we talk about Leah, but it was just like it just showed that she didn't. Now I it depends what you think about backseat, but it just shows she didn't lead the conversation. She didn't really have that much of a sway, and I think that's all she was
Right.
trying to say.
Yes, and I think they both have different definitions of what that means.
Yeah.
But to what Rob was saying, it's just annoying because he's basically like, he heard what Leah said, but then Alex is like, okay, what did she say? And he's like, I don't want to share. So
I'm
it's
like,
like you're convinced that she did sway the conversation, but you
yes.
won't provide information to defend your statement. So you're just throwing it out there, but then you double down and say, I don't want to spread rumors. I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to. And it's like, but you already low key just did.
You,
So, like, it's just annoying. He can't decide what he wants to say. And so he ends up saying a little bit of everything, but also nothing.
and that's Rob. A little bit of everything that means nothing. Because it's like, because I will say, and I'll defend Liv. I understood why initially Liv was upset. Because when
Me
Rob's coming
too.
up to you being like, she said she took a back seat and had nothing to do with it. And it's like, well, she had something to do with it. Okay. And so,
Yeah.
like, I just wish Liv, again, would have talked to Leah before, like, that whole thing blew up.
And I think it was inappropriate for Rob to bring that to Liv anyway, because
Yeah.
he explains, like, I just wanted to know if Leah lied to me. I never thought she would lie to me. You never thought she would lie to you, but when she says something to you, your first thought is to go confirm whether it's true. So you do think that she has the
And he
possibility of
was
lying to you.
trying to dress it up like he was considering getting back together with her. It's like, bitch, no, you were going full big brother trying to go around the villa being like, oh, Leah's talking about this, but it's weird because I don't believe her and da 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 da. And she's fucking lying and
No.
she's just dirty and I hate her. And like, can you just wake the fuck up? Can you wake the fuck up? Can
He's
you shut
doubling
the
down
fuck up,
on
Rob? Oh my
everything.
God.
Rob, you were trying to catch her in a lie. Just keep it a buck. You didn't trust her. You didn't believe her. Like, I never thought she would lie to me. So the first thing you do is go try
Think
to
she lies to
sleuth
you?
it out. Anyway, he's so annoying. So he said that, and then like they were just talking about it, and I was just like, I just feel like he's trying to sound like a good guy, but I feel like if you really cared about Leah, you should have brought it back to Leah and never to Liv. You should
Yeah.
have been like, Leah, are you sure you can you like walk me through the conversation you guys had that night? Are you sure that you didn't have a big sway with the Andrea thing? What were your reasons for wanting Andrea to go home? He
Yeah.
made that whole thing messy. That whole fight with Leah and Liv would never have happened if Rob would have just went back to the source because it just turned into a rumor and it got misinterpreted, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that they will, like, until they both just sit down and watch that whole thing back, I don't think they'll be able to hash it out because it's like, I think they just both had different definitions and it shouldn't have been that way. And then he, like, tries to throw Leah under the bus by saying, I wanted to have a calm conversation with Leah, but then she brought Liv. No, bitch, you brought Liv in when you asked Liv to those questions. You did it first. It's like
At
you want to make it
regardless,
Leah's fault.
yeah. And I mean, because he tried to make it seem like, oh, well, she was trying to have a gang up with Liv. And I'm like, I don't think she wanted a gang up. I think she just wanted Liv to confirm what she was saying, not go
Right,
against you, but just confirm. Whereas both you and Liv were yelling at her at
right,
the same time. So
right.
that's where the gang up.
Yeah. And if I was Leah, I would also call Liv because after they made the choice, who was the one that was saying, I will defend you guys 100%? We made this decision together. It was
Yes.
Liv. So I would call Liv over too because she was the one who basically was the most vocal about, we're going to defend each other. And
Yeah.
she didn't do that herself when Rob went up to her. Like,
No,
they're both so annoying.
they are.
This
But
that whole thing was so stupid, but he really tried to like tell Alex Cooper that he meant the best and he did no, you didn't.
he sees the
You
Leah love and he's trying to piggyback because he can act like he doesn't care, but he cares
Mhm.
what people think.
Right. And this is another instance of him not being upfront. If you were
Hmm.
being upfront, you would have talked to Leah yourself.
Yes.
And then he says he messed up, but still he was like, I didn't handle that right, but still kind of like tries to find a way to blame her, which is
Yes.
annoying.
It is. And the funny thing about this, all this about the Andrea vote, he like has the ick from Andrea now because
Yeah.
he was like, they texted a little bit, but then he saw how many TikToks she made and he's like, wow, that's a lot. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, it is, but like, she's also being asked a lot and getting a lot of hate. So like, she's gonna answer. I mean, it was cringe, but like, I think he's like,
Well,
I saw a lot of her personality I didn't know she had.
I mean, I want to know specifically what made him have the ick, but he was like, yeah, I didn't really I want to know what specifically did she do that you don't like. Like
Right.
she has been saying weird stuff, but I don't think she's been saying anything like extremely bad. Granted, I didn't watch and apparently she's deleted stuff. Did you see anything particular that you're like this
N
was damning?
no, I think it's just like talking about like I think he just doesn't like a woman who speaks. I think that's really, and I think he
I
thought
was
she
about to
didn't,
say,
like, not to get too extreme with it, but I'm like, one of the things he liked about Andre was she was a good listener. In any clip we saw, she was just validating whatever he was saying. So now that she's like
mm-hmm.
showing, like, oh, she has an opinion and like is like saying shit, he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know if I like this.
I think we've discovered yet another man who just secretly hates women with
Hmm.
personalities and shit. Um, it was funny because they talk about when Andrea left as well. This was the last thing I wrote. They talk about when Andrea left, and Rob was like, Andrea didn't do anything wrong, and she handled it like a champ. After she left, all she did was say how much she liked me, and she has gotten the most hate. And I was like, what universe do you live on? Andrea was talking shit about Janae in the dressing room on her way out. One. That's not all she said was how much she liked you. She was like,
Right.
why the fuck am I leaving and Janae is still here? And then she got the most hate. I low key feel like out of the whole cast, Kaylor is getting the most hate. Nobody really even remembers Andrea that much. Like, she's not really a topic of conversation other than, like, how are you guys feeling about it? Like, they're not even asking her to sit in on an interview with the two of you to find out what happened.
I think maybe there was a point where Andre was getting a lot of hate, when she like, because she was like going on interviews being like, oh, Leah's manipulative. Leah swayed the vote. She knew if I was still in there, he wouldn't be talking to her, like all this shit. But no, she was just very much like feeling herself about like the whole like, oh, Rob wanted me and like not Leah
Mm.
type thing. So I think she was getting hate for that. And then she was answering more questions. And then it was just like, I don't like, I'm sure there was a point she was getting a lot of hate, but then like by the time like the season ended, no one was really talking about Andrea except for
Right, that's what
Andrea.
I'm saying. Like, I feel like he has a version of events that is not 100% the real version of events.
No, and I mean that's another thing too, like with him and Aaron, like when he's like, "Oh, she left with such grace," and all this, and like Aaron after the when I rewatched the Casa recoupling, him being like to Kaylor, "I love that you didn't freak out on me. I'm so proud of you." Like they just don't like women who stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, and then that was basically it all I had for his daddy as well. I think he did admit that Aaron asked him to take Daniela back to the
Hmm.
villa because at first he was
And
like
then, like,
no, and then he was like, well,
yeah,
yeah, he did, and she's like, yeah, we know.
we tell him. See, that even makes me feel like he was trying to lie during this interview.
He was. Because he also said he was like, before the Andrea recoupling, he was like, I didn't have a chance to tell Leah. Like he was implying production. And I'm like, there's
Yeah.
always a chance. You just
Yeah.
didn't, you wanted a moment. And that,
Right. Like,
and that's why she said she got the ick when she saw you
doing your
crying.
big one,
Did your big
crying on
one.
the floor.
Oh,
Yeah, they did talk about the Daniela of it all, but there wasn't really a whole lot else other than the whole thing you just said. There was
yeah.
really nothing else. I mean, I think Alex was like, "So why did you bring Daniela?" And it was like, "Well, I didn't want to return alone." And I was like, "Okay. So then
Mm.
why did you make such a scene when you're like, but on movie night I saw what happened and I was so taken aback." It's
I
like
didn't
you
know she was
basically.
saying all that to Aaron. And it's like, yes, you did.
And even if you didn't, you just didn't want to go back to the villa alone. So now why does what she said matter?
Stupid. I hate him.
Me too.
Enough about Rob. Let's end with our
We
queen,
love Leah.
Leah.
Leah
Leah.
Kateb, our
Yes.
Persian princess.
Period. She did an interview with Chicks in the Office and Call Her Daddy. I thought
Mhm.
both were good. I preferred the Chicks in the Office though.
Yeah, I liked it because we can do that one. We can talk about that one first because I feel like with Chicks in the Office, it was right after the villa,
Yeah.
whereas Alex Cooper was probably like a couple days after she got home.
Yes.
So I kind of like that one better because it was just like fresh, like all of
Mm-hmm.
her like fresh thoughts.
And they were like her raw emotion and reaction to realizing that she was like loved and people liked her a
Yeah,
lot. I
she was
was like,
like, really? They like me?
the Queen of Love Island? Like,
Hmm.
yes. Um, but one thing I loved about Chicks in the Office was when they talk about the Andrea vote,
Hmm.
they say exactly all we saw Leah say, which
Hmm.
was that she felt Andrea wasn't here for the right reasons. And that
Yep,
was it. And she was like,
that's all
yes,
we
that's
saw.
literally all I said. And I'm like, I'm glad that someone's telling her, like, oh, this is what was said. We agree with your comment about the back seat. You
Wow.
know, that
What a
simple.
stark just so simple. She's like, yeah, that's all I said. And then they moved on. She wasn't harping on her, trying to change the story. One thing about Leah I love is I actually like you can really tell that she's being genuine. Like maybe she's playing us all, but I feel like all of the times that she's talked, these two times I've seen her, and even on her social media, she's just being herself.
She
And it's
is.
so stinking cute, and I love her.
It
She's
is.
amazing.
I love her too. It's just very genuine. And like I feel like we're seeing like a sweet side, but she's like real. I just
Yep.
like I want to hang out with her. I'm
No,
like,
me
she's amazing.
too. I was like, oh my gosh, can we be friends?
And
Because
she's like
like
funny.
she's so funny and she's like actually like really comfortable. Like the chicks in the office, you would think that they were friends. Even with Alex Cooper, I was like, do you guys know each other? Like off rip. They're
I
like
know.
laughing, being playful. I was like, this is cool.
Very personable. Was there something else on Chicks in the Office that I liked a lot? What was it?
I don't
Maybe it'll come to me. I forgot to take notes because I was listening again today. And
No,
I
yeah, I just listened to it this morning and they were just like, girl, the world loves you. And she was just like, oh my gosh, for real. But that was kind of like it, like them, they asked a couple questions about Rob, the Rob thing. Did they really, I don't really know if I can't remember them asking her about Miguel much.
they asked a little, well, like one thing that the interview or the internet is harping on is that Leah and Miguel haven't done any interviews together and they feel like
Mm.
the they're like trying to like push the Leah and Rob thing. Like in Call Her Daddy, they felt
Um,
like she was asking too many questions about Rob. In the Chicks in the Office, they said because Fran and Rhea have come out and were just like we were able to do interviews with who was available. Like we couldn't control it. We would have loved to have done it with Miguel as well.
mhm.
And so they're like thinking they're trying to keep them out of interviews together and they're like we want to know about them, not about Rob. And
Honestly, yeah.
I'm like I get it, but not to defend production a little. All of up till last week y'all were trying to get Leah and Rob back together.
Yeah.
So they're going based off fan reaction.
Yeah.
So that's why they're asking about Rob.
Yeah.
And like I get it. I'd like to see an interview with Leah and Miguel, but it seems like he's already back in London.
Right. And I mean, I guess they could put him on Zoom or something, but yeah, I feel like they're just kind of talking about the drama of the Leah and Rob stuff and not so much Miguel.
Yeah.
Um, the Alex Cooper interview, they did talk about it though. So I really like the part I like that she really kind of breaks down her whole dynamic with Rob, which really helps us understand it. Like, fam, she was stressed out
She
about
was.
Rob.
She said
Like,
she was like miserable.
yes, she was like it was a roller coaster. And I get it now that I'm seeing it because she was with him for 2 days. Liv stole him. She got him back, then Andrea stole him. Like there was a lot happening right at the beginning with both of
Hmm.
them. And I think that like she was like really just on this emotional roller coaster and she talks about like not being like a super emotional person and like being very calm and I feel like we saw that person at first because
Yeah.
when Liv stole Rob and then she got him back she was very calm, not cursing out Liv threw water in this girl's face and she said and didn't she wiped her face
She
and she moved
did.
on, right? We saw the calm Leah,
We
but then I
did.
think the sleep deprivation and everything else just caught up with her and she started spiraling
It did. She said that there was a day where the psych had to call her in three
three
times, and she was
times.
like laughing
Yeah.
about it. And then she was like, there was instances where she wanted to go home, like one in
Mm-hmm.
particular being when Kendall dropped the weight on Rob as the least
Oh,
trustworthy
yeah.
in that one game. And she was
Yeah.
like worried because she was just like, this situation won't ever end. Like, we're never gonna
Yeah.
escape this. Like, I want to go.
Yeah.
And she was just like going through the emotions, thinking she
She
was like,
was.
and she was just like, and I think she said this in like Chicks in the Office as well. Like, she's surprised how much love she's getting because she thought she was acting weird, like in the villa, and that people were gonna
Mm-hmm.
like hate her. And she was like shaming her family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, girl, we got you. Oh, I think that's what it was in Chicks in the Office that I liked because they talked about the movie night clip and they
Mm-hmm.
affirmed to her, they were just like, no, we understood why you freaked out like that and like went off on him. And she was like, really? And she's like, no, that's why we were annoyed in movie night. Like, we knew why you
Yeah.
were. So we got it. And we're like, it's cool if you want to apologize. Like, yeah, we get it. But like, we're
Yeah.
on your side.
I'm glad that they said that. Like, if you feel regret, that's cool. But if you don't, that's cool too. Like,
That's
we
even
get it
better.
either way. We get it either way.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
I like that affirmation for her.
Yeah,
And
me too.
then Leah was just
Oh, well,
funny in the Call Her Daddy.
she was. I was gonna add after the Kendall thing where he dropped the weight on Rob, she said she sat down and cried for like 2 hours and was
Mm-hmm.
just like so overwhelmed because she just wanted to move on and people kept bringing it up. She was like everybody felt like the ops. And I was
Yeah.
like, I get it. Like there was this huge dramatic thing and then Andrea left and now you're just trying to like move on and it's just like kind of weird. So like I could get it. And I get and then like she kind of described the roller coaster just of what it was like to be in a relationship with him because she said that in the past, like she's felt a lot of insecurities about certain things. So
Mm-hmm.
when she and Rob were having their fight and Rob said that sexually the chemistry like wasn't there, she felt disgusted because she felt like he was speaking to every insecurity she's ever had about her
Yeah.
body and herself and her image. And I was like, that makes sense. Not that Rob is necessarily responsible. He doesn't know what he's triggering, but I
Right.
get why it irked her so much because I remember telling Serena she wanted to throw up. Like she
Mm-hmm.
slipped out. Apparently Leah throws up a lot.
She does on edibles to get it out of her
We should
system.
just talk about all the funny stories like after we go through this because I was like,
Yes.
Leah's like so funny.
They were so good. But
Yeah.
yeah, she even started to cry in the interview about Rob's
hmm
comment. And I was like, oh,
hmm
poor Leah.
It really hurt her. Like, I mean, it would hurt me too, especially thinking like, oh no, we're good. Like she said, she felt like she wanted to sleep with him and like take it to the next step. That it was like obviously like going well, and then he said that and was like so soul crushing to her, which is stupid because on the in the villa, I remember him retracting it and saying like, I didn't mean that to her because I think
Hmm.
she confronted him later. But then now
Yeah.
he's saying like, no, here are the reasons why I said that,
It's because she
which
was
is
too soft with the kisses or
oh my
something. And I'm
god.
like,
She seemed scared and it seemed forced or whatever.
yeah, because he kept telling her,
Um
don't hurt me. She was like, he said that every time.
yeah.
Every time.
But listening to all of this, I'm like, I can really understand like just the emotional roller coaster of being in this place, coupling up with people, getting excited, thinking it's going well, and then it changes. And like I get Leah's feelings. And then she was like, that's why it was so great with Miguel.
Yes, she said she got the experience. She felt like it was meant to be. And then,
Yeah.
like, one thing I like that we got to kind of learn how they had a friendship before, like, even the first day
Yeah.
that, like, he came in, it was like him and Serena in the bed talking, and like, they
Mhm.
just really got along. And it was one of those where it's just like, she wasn't sure if he liked him, he wasn't sure if she liked, or she wasn't sure if he liked her. He wasn't sure if she liked him. There we go.
Mhm.
Um, and we didn't get any of that because I remember when they
Mm-mm.
like literally decided they would couple up and like make out and all that. It was random.
It was random, but no, that had
And
been
we were like,
building.
why? Clearly he's doing this because he wants to stay. But I'm like, she's trying to move on from
Yeah.
Connor, so that fine.
Yeah.
And I'm
And she
like,
talked to, oh, go
oh
ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. Like, oh, there was actually like more to it.
Yes. Yeah. She said that he would like kind of like affirm her, like hype her up about her appearance and stuff, her personality. He was like always like really positive, and then like he was very upfront. She didn't have to
Yes.
question what was going on because he was very honest with
And he
her.
is. We saw that
He
even after
is.
the movie night and he wasn't happy with it. He went to her and like opened up respectfully. It was a good dialogue. They moved on.
They moved on. It was
Mm,
fine. It was really cute. But I think that she kind of put a lot of I'm glad I listened to her perspective because I feel like the whole situation with Rob makes more sense and her
hmm.
relationship with Miguel makes more sense. Yes, they spent more time on the Rob of it all, but it was really good. I just
Yes.
liked, hearing what she really felt about it all and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
like when the Andrea or when they were fighting about the Andrea vote, she loved that Serena like came to her defense like right away and was
Mm,
like there for her. She talks a lot about how like Serena reminds her of her sister.
Yes.
because they're both Virgos. And like Serena, she would just be like, Serena, can you just like read me to filth today? Like, I can't remember why she needed that, but like Serena would just keep it a buck with her every day, be like, girl, like, this is what you need to do. And this is what this is, like kind of break things down. And she just like needed that from Serena. And then like how she loved her dynamic with both her and Janae.
Yes, PPG on top. They're like close and they built such a good bond. And I think even after they both had to check her after the fight with Rob and Liv the next day, I guess she was
Yeah.
like, Rob looks good working out. And they were like, bitch, stand the fuck up. What are you doing right
What
now?
are you doing
And
right
she was like,
now?
you're right. Like, I need to. Um, I like too because she talked about like the Janae and Connor, and some people on the internet are just like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
she's not owning it. Like she needs to apologize to Janae. And I think she commented back. She was like, I've literally apologized publicly and personally to Janae. We've literally moved on. And I'm like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, clearly they've moved on. So like,
Yeah,
relax,
because
internet.
right. I mean, she's with Kenny now, so it really doesn't matter. They're obviously good friends. So like you think Janae would just be fake and not, or Janae is like somehow just not acknowledging it. Like, no, Janae, we've seen Janae. If she was upset, you would know.
Right. And
But she
I,
did say,
oh no, you go.
oh, well, I was gonna say Leah says that Janae moved on already by the time that like she and
Mm-hmm.
Connor did couple up, that Janae like kind of was just like moving on and was over it. But during Janae's interview, she did say she was blindsided at first. So
Mm-hmm.
like we kind of see both perspectives. Like it was a shock to her, but she kind of got over it. Janae
Yeah.
didn't talk about the whole getting over it part.
Yeah. And Leah did say with Connor, she thinks she confused him being there for
Hmm.
her after the Rob stuff as like really liking him. She's like, I liked him, but it wasn't like that. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
can get that.
Yeah, it was more so like, okay, you're my really good friend, but does that mean that we should be in a thing? Like, I don't know.
Why is he under the table? Ew. I can't.
I can't wait for them to watch it all back.
Right.
That was kind of the main points. I just have a bunch of funny shit that Leah talked
Right.
about.
Yeah, that was it. Except for I do like that she said her and Miguel knew Rob and Cassie slept together because Rob acted like no one knew. And she's
Yeah,
like,
he
we
did.
literally saw him get the condom. And like, I'm like, that's funny. Because even Rob was
And
like,
she's
Miguel said something like, oh, I would never like have sex in the bed with everyone. He's like, yeah, me either. And it's like, he's saying that because he knows you did, you idiot. He's not just gonna
literally.
randomly say that.
Rob thinks he's so mysterious and nobody gets him.
Right.
Meanwhile, they saw you get up out of bed, which
So
also makes me
stupid.
think like Leah, like a lot of people are like, oh, Leah and Rob, she is over that man. She is over that man. She
Mm-hmm.
has Miguel. Miguel is night and day. Who they didn't show them enough, so we think that they have these desperate feelings for each other. No, they are literally friends. It is literally fine. She wants to be his friend for a long time. Like they have the same sense of humor and stuff, but romantically, Leah knows what's better for her. And
Right.
Rob's not interested. Rob says he's gonna be single for a while. We'll see how if that's true, but
We'll
they're both
see.
over it.
Leah had a lot of funny stories. She said one of them was like the first time she took edibles. And it was like in 2020, they went out to like a sushi restaurant for the first time. Like they were allowed to like leave the house. And she like just like was having like a panic attack and like out of body experience. It was like on the floor of the bathroom. And then mom was like, stop trying to throw up. It's in your bloodstream. Get out there and
Basically.
eat. We go out one time. And I'm like, this is too much. I love this.
That's something that will blow your high immediately. Like somebody just yelling at you to get your shit together.
It will. And she said it did. She was like, immediately, I was not high anymore. And I'm like, that's funny.
If y'all just want to watch the interview just for these stories, I think you should.
Yeah.
Also, Leah's got some stuff. There was like Alex Cooper asked her like, "Have you dated an NFL player?" And she basically talks about how she dated this NFL player, and it was so they slept together. It was so disgusting. She like threw up on PCB.
PCH, the high.
PCH.
Yes. And then I went home and sat in my shower and didn't fuck for 2 years. She said he like spread himself open in the shower.
Yeah, he like went to wash his ass basically and
Yes.
opened his cheeks and
And
it
she's like, that's
disgusted her.
fine, but why in front of me? And she was just like, and then what killed me the most was she was like, because Alex was like, does he still play? And she's like, no, I think he sings now.
Like what? Who is this
I
person?
need to ask because I'm like, I feel like our friend from F45 Kelsey might know who it is,
Oh
but
yeah.
maybe it's someone else. I only say that, but maybe I'm wrong because it could have been someone from The Bachelor that became a singer and not a football player who became a singer. But I feel like there was
Oh,
someone she mentioned once that was a football player, but maybe I just confused the story. So she might not know, but I had thought about asking her. I was like, should
no,
I
you should
ask? Like,
ask
do
her.
you
Let's see.
know?
Let's do some investigation. I mean, there's so many football players out there. Also, Alex asked her. She's like, "There's a rumor going around that you like dated or hooked up with Kanye West." And Leah was just like, "Can we move on?" And I was like, "What?"
She was like, do you
But
want to move on?
honestly,
She's like, yes, let's move on. All of a sudden, I want to talk about Rob. And I'm like,
yeah. So that makes me feel like it's true.
yes, it's true. You would say no if it wasn't.
Right. And I mean, she's Kanye's type. So I get it, I think.
I get it too. Leah has lived so many lives. I'm like,
I was like, how old are you
she's
again,
only like
girl?
24.
She's got so
Um,
many, she's only 24. That's crazy. But yeah,
but
those are major things for them.
yeah, it was funny too because she was like, have you dated like an athlete? And then she's like, of course, like they're so easily fuckable. My grandma's probably fucked one. And
I was
like,
like,
I can't.
what is this life that you live? Please just
Right?
like write a book
Please
because girl,
do.
I don't know a lot of women that can say that.
I know.
she,
I'm like,
she's
I'd
like,
buy the book.
everybody has. And it's like, no, girl, everybody has not.
Right. I also, side note, loved her outfit she wore. I loved the skirt and like the
Hmm.
corset top, the boots, the hair.
I think that she lives this like high California life because she's got money. She's in California where a lot of people of influence are. And because she has money, I feel like she's in this upper echelon of society that we
I
don't even
know.
know about, but
I'm
it's
like,
normal to
can we
her.
get in this? I'm like, I'm just trying to see what it's like for a minute. Cause she's like in
Yeah.
Calabasas. They went in her TikTok. She posted this long TikTok with like her sister and friend, and they go to like this very nice vegan restaurant that has like these
Hmm.
nice foods and like
And they
drinks. And
order
I'm
like
like,
a bunch of food. They're just
yes.
racking it up.
I'm like, I want to try all this. She's like this mushroom steak, and I'm like, I don't even fuck with mushrooms like that, but that looks good. I'm
It
like, I'm
looks
gonna
so
try it.
good. Yeah. And she
I'm
was
like,
like,
do
we're
we
gonna
go
get
vegan?
drunk. No, for real. She was like, we're gonna get drunk and eat all this food and then watch, like, my sister and my friend are gonna show me their favorite Love Island moments and we're gonna watch them.
I'm like, that sounds perfect. In my mansion.
Literally in
Um,
your big ass house.
I
Um,
can't.
the only other things I have is just stuff I've seen on social media.
Yeah, I've seen because there was a lot of them on Universal at
Yeah.
Universal. A lot of cute ones with Serena and Cordell.
Yeah,
Um,
Serena's so good at doing lip syncing
oh
basically for
yeah.
all of these TikTok. I was like, it look you girl, you just try it once and you know all the words and it's like in sync and it looks great.
It does. She's a baddie. I love
Yeah,
Serena.
she's amazing.
I want to see more with PPG. They need
Me
either a
too.
podcast or something.
I
Because,
saw oh go ahead.
oh no,
Sorry, I keep cutting you off. Sorry.
stop cutting it off, Mag. No, I'm kidding. What was it? No, because she said Serena lives in LA
Hmm.
and then Janae's in Vegas, and Vegas is close to like California. So
Hmm.
she's like, we're gonna be outside.
No, for real.
And I'm like,
They did this
period.
little video before they went to Universal. They did a little video on TikTok and they keep doing the Mean Girls mom dance.
Oh yeah, because they did that. It was the clip that's online of them. It was
They did it in the villa.
in the villa where they were just like,
Hmm.
and I'm like, that's
Uh-huh.
funny. I love it.
Me too. And then obviously Leah on her account. she posted a video of Rob and it looks like she's sitting on his lap or something. They're like really close together, but it was like a super short video. And the caption is petition to bring back Rob's Sway Boy era.
Yes. Okay, so I saw that, and then I saw on Twitter people were saying Miguel posted like a response with the same audio, and they were like, "This is hilarious." And I'm like, "What is it about the audio?" And then I forgot one of Rob's old TikToks was to the promiscuous, where he was like
I
cringe, and I'm like, "That's actually
see.
really funny that Leah and Miguel did that."
Right, just basically making fun of him. And
Yes.
then Leah does a tour of all of her animals. Brandon, please go. It's like an 8 minute TikTok. Did you watch it?
I haven't seen the full thing, but I saw a decent amount. Like there was like pigs, there were her dog. She was like, "This is Blue or Bluey, whatever her dog's name is, and this is the
Yeah.
dog I always swore on, and he's alive, so that means I didn't lie." And I'm like,
Well,
period.
I just thought it was funny because all of the time she's trying to interact with the animals and they're like low key running
They
away from
are.
her.
It was. She's like, "Oh my gosh."
She's like, here's Blue. And she like takes a step towards Blue and Blue like runs away. And so she chases Blue for a second and then stops. And I'm like, do these animals like you?
Uh,
Like she goes to the pig pen. I guess her sister's recording, and all of the pigs are like, and they like they like walk away from her, and then like one looked like it was sleeping, so it grunted extra hard, and her sister's
yes.
like, Leah, I want to leave, like, can we go? And Leah's like, no, it's fine. And then she starts petting the pig, and then the pig relaxes, and like I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, these are your animals. But I was like, why are they all like running except for the horses? Like they just, and like a couple of the
Yeah.
dogs, a few of them were running away from her, and I just thought it was so funny because she's like, look at my animals. I love them. And it's like, meanwhile, they're like, bitch, we haven't seen you in two
They're
months.
like, "Who are you?" Uh,
Yeah.
it's funny. Yeah,
And
and
that's pretty much all I have.
yeah, you mentioned the Kendall Zara thing. He picked like the most basic clothes from Zara to try on.
Yeah,
And
he
then
did.
did you see the Kane versus Sierra?
I did. What do you think?
I thought it was funny
Yeah,
because
me
she
too.
posted the audio where it's just like when Harrison picked me and stole me from Kane, and it was some audio, I forget what it was, but essentially being like she was happy and like by Kane.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he was just like, "Oh, coming from like the Timu Rihanna or some shit."
Yeah. So he made a post. He said, me to Sierra when she kept following me into soul ties when I was overstimulated and wanted the fuck away from everyone. And it was like a video to another sound, just basically being shady. And then in the
Yeah.
comments, somebody said something and he said she was Timu Riri.
Yes. And then she was like, "I thought you liked Timu because that's where you got your teeth." And I was like, that was kind of funny. But then he said
Oh
something back
gosh.
where he was just like, "Oh, are you mad that Harrison's more in my DMs than yours?" And I'm like,
Wow.
"Okay,
Wow.
Kane. All right."
Wow. So we have
Leah
a
did
few.
say, "Oh, that she was least happy to see Kane at the reunion because she was like Hakeem,
Mm,
and she's like, scratch that. No, Kane,
Kane.
is
And
he
then
gonna
they're
be
like,
there?"
all three of them, Kane, Hakeem, I'm good on them.
I'm like, period. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Well,
other
the
than that,
cast
I
is
think
doing
that's
their thing.
it. They're doing
Yep.
good.
Hmm.
They're living their best lives. They're doing their big ones.
They're big
And
ones.
there's interviews. I'm sure there'll be more. And
Yeah.
then yeah, any reunion expectations?
So I wrote down the things that I want them to show us more of.
Okay.
I know the reunion is short. I need at least 2 minutes of one of these things.
Well, I'm hoping they make
Either
the reunion 2 hours. If they can make the finale 2 hours, they can make the reunion two
they can have
hours.
three parts at this point. Just
Here,
show us some shit.
yes, pull a Bravo.
Well, exactly.
Mm,
So I want to see the whole vote conversation, or at least 2 minutes, like a crucial part of the vote conversation that shows whether or not Leah had a sway or not. That's what I
yeah,
want to know. I low-key want to see more of the Rob fight and to understand like why was he jumping in the pool? Like what
yeah,
were you got what really triggered him, or at least just show it to show us more and show how either he was being manipulative or maybe Leah was. I don't think
yeah,
that's true, but just show us more. I do want to see the whole thing with Karen and Kaylor. Like the Aaron and Kaylor had a lot of discussions post Casa, and I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like we only saw some of them, so maybe show us more of that. But
Mm-hmm.
that's like those I want to mostly see the first two things,
Okay.
but maybe
Oh
the third,
yes.
if you have to show us something, show us that.
Mine, I just wrote some expectations
Mm-hmm.
of what I want to see. I want to see Andrea call out Rob because he really did his big one and was like, oh, I'm gonna leave, and now is paying her
Yeah.
dust. So I kind
Right.
of
Like
get like the kind of whiplash with that.
yeah, well, we didn't talk about that before, but yeah, during the interview, he kind of mentioned, like, I guess just like being confused and not knowing whether he wanted to leave or not, and even the next day feeling like he should have left, and now you're completely blowing her off. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, or at least explain what she did on social media and why it gave you such an ick.
right. And like I would love for them to call out how he's overcritical of women.
Yep.
I want to see Liv versus Aaron. I want to see her go into him about everything, and of course he's gonna say his piece or whatever.
Right.
I like you, the Leah validation and clarity on voting Andrea out.
Mm-hmm.
Ariana in a stunning outfit.
That's a
Justice for
given, Brandon.
that's a given, but justice for Leah in the Rob situation, which I think, like you said, showing more of the Rob fight and
Mm-hmm.
like showing more of that. And then I want more clarity on the 90%, 10% comment when it comes to Cordell and Dea. Because remember, that was a big point of contention. And Leah said Cordell said it, but we saw Miguel say it, but Miguel didn't say it the way that
I
Leah took
saw
it.
Leah say
Miguel
it.
said something 90%, but Leah took it as 90% into Serena. Like it was just, he was like, he talked about Serena 90% of the time. And she's like, he was 90% more interested in Serena. Like she took it wrong, but then he didn't clarify completely. And then it came up and he was like, I didn't say anything.
The
And
whole
then
thing
she
was
was like,
confusing.
Cordell said it. So I just want clarity on that.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, other than that, that's it. And I'm just open to whatever. I just want to see it ASAP.
me too, man. August 19th cannot come soon enough.
Yes. But that's pretty much it for today's episode. Another episode where we say it's gonna be quick and it's probably almost 2 hours. But you know what? Given the content,
We do what we do.
we do what we do. We can't stop yapping. I don't know what we're gonna cover next. We still have to discuss that, but we'll cover
Yeah.
something. And it will be something that we've talked about before. Or maybe it'll be a
Yes.
surprise. But
Yeah.
we shall do it and it'll be okay. But in the meantime, y'all should rate and review us. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts on Spotify. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. We've seen some really nice ones and they've made our days.
Yes.
And then if you want to see our beautiful faces instead of just listening, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Shade of It All Podcast and watch that and subscribe to that channel. If you want to see fun clips, you can follow us on TikTok at the Shade of It All Podcast. At the Shade of It All Pod is our Instagram. Soon enough, we will post on there. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.